He missed the first 39 games last year, herniated disc. When he came back, it was slow, and the whispers started. With the playoffs coming, could the great one rise to the occasion again? They kept whispering. In the 1992-93 Stanley Cup playoffs, he led all scorers. The whispers stopped.
The other man had a tune to play.
From Landover, Maryland, just outside our nation's capital, the home of the Washington Capitals, where tonight the Los Angeles Kings continue their road trip. First meeting of the season between the Kings and the Caps on ESPN's National Hockey Night. Hello, everybody. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and welcome. Great to have you with us, and another great opportunity to see one of sports all times. And he's healthy, Wayne Gretzky.
Well, Wayne is healthy, Gary. Besides that, he has added a weapon to his arsenal. For years, Wayne was the classic setup man in the NHL. This year, he is shooting more. He is averaging 2 shots a game more for a number of reasons. Yes, he started shooting more in the playoffs last year. And yes, his coach wants him to shoot more. But besides that, 2 big reasons. He came into this season 36 goals behind Gordie Howe's all-time record of 801. He wants that. And besides that, the Hockey News ran a poll of fans. They asked them to rate the best players in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky in that poll finished 8th. Wayne does not like finishing 2nd. Can you imagine how he feels being rated 8th?
Somebody forgot to look at the numbers, I'll tell you that, or you would never put him at 8th. All right, we've got action coming up. He'll be on the ice, and I guarantee you he won't be 8th tonight. The face-off when we come back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Levy. Welcome back to our National Hockey Night studios. Kings and Caps are coming up in just a bit, but the story tonight in hockey is the Red Wings captain, Steve Yzerman, will be out for at least a month suffering from a herniated disc. Islanders and Flyers, a special 6 o'clock start Eastern Time, scheduled to play last night in Philadelphia. Good move by the Flyers to avoid conflict with the World Series. Going at it, tied at 1 in the second. Patrick Flatley the rebound, and Marty McInnis is there to pop it by Dominic Roussel. So after 2 periods of play, that's where they stand. 2-1 Islanders over Philly. Isles have lost 3 straight. Philly has won 3 in a row. A couple other games for you. It's now 2-0 Tampa Bay over the Rangers. That in the first period. Mikael Anderson and Danton Cole have scored for the Lightning. Pittsburgh and Buffalo tied at 1 in the first period. And the Sabres trying to break a 6-game losing streak. And Jim Schoenfeld, goaltending has been the story of the season so far. Felix Potvin, the obvious choice in Toronto. Tom Barrasso for Pittsburgh.
Barrasso's coming off a sensational victory against the Islanders, a 3-2 victory where he stopped 45 of 47 shots, and he was absolutely remarkable. The Sabres have had no trouble getting a lead. It's the third period that's killed them. They've got into the third period tied or leading and lost 5 of 6 games. So they're going to have their work cut out for them against Tommy Barrasso.
All right, Jim, we'll have much more coming up after the first intermission, but right now it's getting set for the Caps and the Kings from Landover. This is National Hockey Night.
ESPN's National Hockey Night is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer, an easy drinking Bush Light, by the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, and by Citibank MasterCard and Visa. Make sure your cards say Citibank.
And welcome back, everybody. US Air Arena here in Landover, Maryland. Washington Capitals and the Los Angeles Kings ready to go. The Capitals won their last game, their first one of the season. Wayne Gretzky and company lost their first game of the year to Vancouver, and they haven't lost since. The Washington Capitals have had 2 good games back-to-back here in their last 2. Cote holds it in as we are underway. Bounces behind Kelly Rooney, but it did not go in. Taylor brings it out. Taylor out there with Conacher and Reichel. A hard grinding line for the Kings. Save made. Fire in. Don Beaupre in net for the Washington Capitals. Kelly Rudy in net for the Kings.
Gary, if there's one decided difference in these two teams, besides their record, it's really been the play of their goaltenders. Kelly Rudy has been terrific for LA, not so for the Caps.
Pavanka centering, score! Randy Burridge!
Well, this is a breath of fresh air for Terry Murray and his Washington Capitals. They have fallen behind in so many of their games this season, but Pavanka finds Burridge going wide on Daryl Sador, and Sador not able to keep him wide. Charlie Huddy just stayed up on Michael Pavanka, tried to get a piece of the pass, didn't do it. I take that back. That was Warren Reichel that was back-checking. Sador had stayed in to try to break up the play, so it was a legitimate 2-on-2. Those are the kinds of plays that will drive Barry Melrose, the LA coach, crazy, because Reichel was in the position to take Burridge.
1-0 lead, Randy Burridge, who played only 4 games last year, double knee operation back this season, and he puts the Capitals up early in this game. Hatcher could not hold it in. Gretzky out on the ice. Gretzky with Mike Donnelly. And Thomas Sandstrom intended for Sandstrom, but he came in ahead of it on the right. Well, Kelly Rudy beaten early on, the 32-year-old, 212 wins in his career. The numbers for him this season, and Rudy has been outstanding, 3.22 goals against, and you see a great save percentage at .912.
And that usually means that he has faced a lot of shots, and he did face a lot of shots on the Florida trip. Don Beaupre not faring so well. His record 1-3, 6.26 goals against.
Both these goaltenders veterans, both 32 years old. Hatcher's got it, sends it up. The Caps getting on the board in the first minute of play here. Randy Burridge from Pavanka and Cote, 37 seconds. And the save made on the tip in front again by Todd Krieger. Brought up by Gretzky. Gretzky chips it into the corner. Hatcher going back to get it. Kevin Hatcher and the Caps. Near side, Lance Roberts, the referee, moving out of the way. Brian Murphy and Jay Shearers are the linesmen, working with Roberts in the game here tonight. Kelly Johansson behind the net. Johansson gets it up through the middle. The Caps trying to find that offense. The first part of the season was not there. Last couple of games, a whole lot better.
It wouldn't have been so bad had it just been the offense that wasn't there. The defense wasn't there either.
Well, they were coughing them up in the goaltending, which has been absolutely atrocious prior to the last couple of games. Sent in offside as Granato on the near side had already entered the zone. El Morganti with us here tonight in Landover. El?
Thanks, Gary. Bill, you know what it's like when a team's losing, a lot of nervous people in the locker room. Well, Terry Murray was nervous also today, and a lot of people are waiting for a move by this club. They lost Keith Atkins today. They're unhappy. Now there's word maybe a big deal with Quebec for Joe Sakic. The two principals, Al Iafrate or Kevin Hatcher, they've got a good defense here. Hatcher, they may not be willing to part with. He's one of the premier players. He could be a Norris Trophy winner someday. Now, Iafrate, though he might seem the less likely, remember, he's a big fan draw here. Back to you, Gary.
All right, if you missed it today, Elenick was traded to Tampa Bay for a 5th-round draft pick, and Keith Acton went through waivers. The Caps never dreamed anyone was going to pick him up. Well, the Islanders did. They really didn't want to lose him, but he is gone.
And they had to put him on waivers, too, to make room because they signed this week Brian Curran, and he is in the lineup, but the rules say you got to make room on the roster, so somebody had to clear, and you're right. They did not want to lose him, nor did they expect to lose him.
He was not a happy man when he left here tonight. Robitaille drops it back. Zhitnik's got it behind the net. Alexei Zhitnik, who came on with a great rookie season last year, only 21 years old, can score, plays the body. Sylvain Cote will chase it down for the Caps back in their own end. Capitals leading 1-0. Randy Burridge, second goal of the season, coming 37 seconds into this game, is the one that's up on the board right now. Zhitnik had it knocked away. There, Shulock will take it back in behind the net. Near side for Zhitnik again. Robitaille out on the ice near side. The tip intended for him bounced away at center. And offside. Caps would have had a break, but not that time as Bondra tried to rush it in. 1-0. Caps on top. Barry Melrose, 3 years at Adirondack in the Detroit organization, first-year NHL Cup Finals.
I asked him this morning if he was going to change anything because he was playing the Washington Capitals. He said it wouldn't matter if we were playing Montreal or Calgary. We think teams have to change to play against us. We will finish our checks, we will attack the net, we will shoot, and we'll play at fast pace, and we'll see if anybody can adjust to us, and that's Melrose's philosophy.
It worked last year. Why change? And the players love it. Curran battling in the corner. That's Brian Curran. And a penalty coming up. Roberts. Curran picks up a ton of penalty minutes wherever he plays. He's 29 years old, 9 years up and down. between the minors and the National Hockey League and penalty minutes everywhere he's been.
Gary, he's only played 3 NHL games in the last couple of years. There's Gary Shuchuk in the corner. Here comes Brian Curran. Now, he kept the stick down and took him cleanly, but Shuchuk gave him what he thought, I guess, was a little swat there, and then Brian Curran got a little too loud on him. 68 minutes in penalties with Portland in the American League, the Portland Pirates, the team that the Capitals have their minor league affiliation with. And Brian Curran actually went to Portland's camp. The Capitals supply 8 players to the Portland team. The Portland organization supplies the rest. Brian Curran was on the minor league roster, but they wanted to add a little fire. And if anything, Brian Curran really is a reflection of the situation here in Washington. That's why he is here. Tough guy. They know what they're going to get out of him, and he's been playing pretty well in Portland. They signed him this week to a major league contract. He didn't have one until this week.
Now we'll see the power play. There is Terry Murray in his 5th year, 144 wins, 117 losses, 24 ties here with the Caps. Power play underway here as Curran goes out. The high sticking call at 3:10. First power play of the game. Blake shot. Save made by Beaupre as he kicked it away. Gretzky will stay out on the power play. For the Los Angeles Kings this season on the power play, they are ranked 2nd right now. 13 for 46. They've gone 2 for 8 on the road on the power play. The Washington Capitals 19th in killing off penalties right now, but they've given up only one of them here at home. Jitnik brought it in, but he had about 4 of his teammates already in on the right wing side, so they'll come back to center with 1:31 left on the power play. Jitnik working one of the points along with Rob Blake. And Gretzky, of course, out there on the power play. 5 goals, 15 assists for it. There you see the numbers last year on the power play for the Kings as they finished overall 11th, and this year the percentage even higher.
Well, the Capitals have definitely changed the way they are killing penalties from the first 4 games of the season. That last dump down, nobody even chased the puck. All 4 penalty killers back. Look at them now. They're all back waiting, just passively waiting. They were far too aggressive early in the season and got burnt a lot.
They've changed that one up. Hatcher clears it around and got it out of the zone. Washington will lay back now and just try and get the puck and do what they did there. Kelly Rudy played it around. Poulin on the penalty killing unit could not get it. Sandstrom out with Gretzky and Robitaille up front. Jitnik and Blake back at the point. Blake tried to send it in, deflected to Gretzky, centered Sandstrom. Sandstrom the shot. Robitaille in front waiting. Shot deflected wide. Sandstrom had the second opportunity, did not get in on net. Gretzky, the league's leading scorer, moved it up. Jitnik sends it right back in. Goes around the boards. Not going to be played there. And that will come to center as the Caps killing it off. 44 seconds remaining on this power play chance. Again, Jitnik on the near side to Gretzky, who dumped it in. Jammed up and out of the zone. They're just getting it on the stick and letting it fly out. I'm afraid he racked that one out. 29 remaining on this power play. Kings down 1-0 on the early goal picked up 37 seconds into the game. Cleared in. Carson going to the front of the net. In front, McEachran and a save made by Beaupre.
What a terrific play. Shuchuk to Carson, then out front.
McEachran was all alone that time and rifled it in.
You know, it started with a great backhand play off the glass, which I think was an attempted pass across to the other side to Shuchuk.
Shuchuk shot, save Beaupre. McEachran bats it up in the air to the board. Todd Krieger clears it out of the zone. Down to nothing on the power play. It is over. Darryl Zador clears it up to 0 for 1 on the power play for the Los Angeles Kings. Al Iafrate clears it out. Knocked ahead. Bondra, the intended up ice, as Ridley tried to hit him. Knocked away from Zador into the corner by Todd Krieger. Puck still free. The Caps putting the heat on after that penalty ended. Tony Granato over to get it. Granato trying to get it out. Did not. Shot. Kristich, and he rifled it off the shoulder of Kelly Rudy. They finally clear it out of the zone. Dmitry Kristich, who had 31 goals, part of that offensive-minded defensive core for the Washington Capitals. Capitals leading it here at home over the Los Angeles Kings, 1-0.
Well, the best chance on the power play for the LA Kings came when Gary Shuchuk went behind the net, picked up the puck. Watch this pass to Jimmy Carson. He fooled Al Iafrate completely. Iafrate 34 in white. Then Carson out in front to McEachran for the good scoring chance. But when it happens that quickly, you can't get to your coverage quick enough. That's the importance of moving the puck quickly if you're in there first on offense. The defense, especially when they're killing a penalty, you just can't get to your coverage and into your box and into your unit quickly enough.
Kelly Rudy coming up with a save off the face-off as Kevin Hatcher, yet another of those defensemen. 34 goals for him last season. When they get the puck, they will not hesitate to shoot. Yari Curry is out there to take the draw. Curry wins that one back. And the Kings will control it in their own end. Pat Conacher couldn't get it. Hatcher does. Hatcher sends it in. Blake goes back to get it. Blake looking near side. Kings being pinned in here. Mark Hardy. Hardy sends it out. Granado's got it. Granado with a Hardy. Jari Curry. Granado onside. Trying to get by. Could not. Did play Kalle Johansson, the defenseman who kept him out. Curry. Granado behind the net with it. Jari Curry centered it. Granado tried to get a shot off. Tied up by Johansson again. And back comes Kalle Johansson. Johansson coming with Pat Peake wearing 14, the rookie who's been called up and has played well after starting the season in Portland, Maine with the Pirates. Hatcher again. Kings coming out the center, forcing the play. Conacher trying to get it in, not quite. Kings were changing. Peake drops it off. Burridge shot. Score! Randy Burridge, his second goal of the game.
Well, you can't imagine how good this feels to Randy Burridge. That wasn't tipped, was it? It looked like it was a straight shot. I think Kelly Rudy anticipated a tip from number 22, Konowalchuk, but it never happened. Randy Burridge on Saturday night here at the Cap Center scored his first goal in a year and 8 months. He missed 80 games last year with the knee, had trouble the season before. 20 months between goals. He got number 1 on Saturday night and 2 tonight, so he's a happy guy.
Washington Capitals have a quick 2-0 lead. 2 goals by Randy Burridge. Bavaca trying to get it out of the point. Did. And that came back in on the offside as Reichel pulled it back in. A 2-0 Capitals lead. And the Caps, who coming into this game were averaging only 2.57 goals a game, are quickly going to eclipse that number. And Randy Burridge, what a great story. No question about this guy's talent. The question was, could he come back after sitting out virtually the entire season with 2 bad knees?
Yeah, season before last, he blew out a knee and was able to come back in the playoffs and hurt it again. Then in the summer, he was walking to address a golf ball on the golf course, walking downhill. When he got to the ball, the good knee gave out, and he had to have reconstructive surgery, major surgery on the good knee. So he had to rehab basically for an entire year and a half, both knees.
Pretty good out there in this first period.
Yeah.
Face-off tipped into the Kings' end again. Goal coming at 6:45. The assist of Peake and Iafrate. Pat Peake, his second NHL point, 2 assists. Near side, Reichel a shot. Beaupre, Reichel hit the crossbar. Reichel hit the crossbar as the rebound came back to him off the initial save by Beaupre, all the way to the other end for the icing call.
One of the reasons Warren Reichel is playing with Wayne Gretzky is to really open things up, and it plays into Wayne's new mentality of shooting more because Reichel goes to the net. But on this play, Reichel is breaking away. He passed Cote. Cote got caught in between. He was looking at Gretzky, then at the puck, and Reichel got behind him. Beaupre with a good first save, then bingo, right off the crossbar. Look at Reichel with his head up. He's a tough guy. 2 years ago, he led the league in fights. Last year, he was right up there as well. Wide open.
3 goals and 2 assists this season for Warren Reichel, and almost had himself another one right there. There you see the numbers that he has put up this year for these Los Angeles Kings, who are on top in their division at 5-1 and 2 on the year. Behind the net, Carson tipped it away. McEachran banned on the attempted shot. Sean McEachran coming over in the Marty McSorley deal, and it's going to be a penalty, a trip on the far side. And there's the whistle, and a power play will be coming up for the Caps. Away from the play, tripping on the far side.
Sean,
and not much question.
Gary, well, to be honest with you, Sean McEachran wasn't anywhere near him. Pavanka was it looked like a good 8 feet from him when he went down. It may be a stick hold. McEachran may have been holding Pavanka's stick, and Pavanka may have fallen to try to draw attention to it. And whatever he did, it worked.
Sure went down in a big pile, didn't
he? Yeah, he did.
And Melrose can't believe the call. So the power play will go to the Washington Capitals, and they've got a chance to take a 3-0 lead in this game. Randy Burridge could get the Fewer hat trick. He's already got 2 here in the first. They will send Pavanka out on the power play unit. On the near side, Kalle Johansson and Hatcher will be playing the points on it. Up front off the draw, Mike Ridley. He won it. Kings got it, cleared it around. Beaupre at the far end. Johansson, Taylor up in the forecheck. Taylor had it, lost it at the side of the net to Hatcher. Priestich working on this power play unit. Whiz of Ridley and Pavanka brought in offside as Pavanka had to reach around. Ridley got dumped on the near side.
Well, Michael Pavanka took a little bit of heat after last year's playoffs. He was singled out by general manager David Boyle of the Washington Caps. He had 2 assists in 6 games against the New York Islanders. That was it. And David Boyle intimated at that time that Europeans don't have the motivation, perhaps, simply because they didn't grow up really yearning and longing to drink out of the Stanley Cup. Pavanka shot back. He said, that's not true. When I won a world championship, I watched the Stanley Cup finals and the playoffs, and I wanted to be there. So I had that at a young age as well. But Michael Pavanka has something to prove to a couple of people this year if they make the playoffs.
He's got a goal and 4 assists this season. Pavanka in the corner drops it off for Priestich, hit by Taylor. Short-handed are the Kings. The attempted clear goes up and over the glass, caught by a fan who gets a great hand and a souvenir. Daryl Sador, unhappy with himself. He wanted that to go all the way around the boards and out. He has been a shining star again this season for the Los Angeles Kings.
Yes, Sador is fine right now, Gary, but he didn't have much of a camp. He's one of the youngsters that the LA Kings have. Gosh, they've got a really interesting blend back on the blue line. Daryl Sador is one of the young. He's 21 years old with Shitnik, Rob Blake. They're the young guys. And then they have some other guys. We'll call them the less young. I wouldn't allow us to call them old because I played against these guys. They can't be that old. Look, they're all 34. Hardy, Huddy, and Tim Waters. But boy, it's a nice blend of youth and experience. Real nice.
The old wily veterans in the world of sports. Power play still underway. Cleared up and out of the zone by Tim Waters. 1:06 left on the power play for the Caps. They already lead it 2-0. Power play opportunity here. Second of the period. Cleared around by Blake and can't be held in by Cote on the far side. Cote and Hatcher still working at the point. Randy Burridge with the 2 goals is out there on the ice now on this power play unit. Got Peter Bondra working with him and Pat Peake near side for Bondra. Bondra drops it off. Brought in by Iafrate. Al Iafrate, the defenseman, centered. Score! It went off a King. Iafrate will get the goal. 3-0 Caps.
Well, boy, I don't even think the Washington Capitals and their coach Terry Murray expected to get as many breaks as they've gotten in this game, but they will take them. Al Iafrate, was he trying to pass? Yeah, he was trying to pass right through to Bondra, who was standing in the back. Rob Blake went down the block, and that's one of the risks when you go down with your leg, and especially when it's on an angle like that. Iafrate with a nice move to get by Waters. That's really what caused the breakdown and gave him a chance to even pass it. But when you go down with your leg like that, boy, there's so many contours in the pad. It can come off at any angle, and it came off at the perfect angle for Al Iafrate.
Barry Melrose has taken the time out to just quiet things down for the Los Angeles Kings. Iafrate will get the unassisted goal at 9:06 on the power play. The new rule this season agreed to on scoring: if a puck is passed by a player rather than shot and it deflects off somebody else and goes in, there will be no assist granted on it. Last year and previous seasons, they used to give assists for passes that ended up in the net. This year, they've decided not to do that. So the guy gets the goal, but nobody else gets an assist. Iafrate gets that one, and it's a 3-0 lead. Washington, early on here, really putting it to the Kings. They are outskating them, and clearly they are getting the breaks. So the Kings have used their 1:32 timeout. They get a game. Sador dropped it off in the middle for Donnelly. Sandstrom to Donnelly. Gretzky on this line. Sandstrom in. Gretzky to the middle. Shot is in the crease, sitting. Tried to wrap it around. Donnelly couldn't get it out in front. Caps get it back along the board. Sador sends it back into Donnelly. Donnelly, Hatcher's there. Donnelly still got it. Gretzky on the drop. Gretzky tried to roll it in front. Sandstrom couldn't get it back to Gretzky. Washington breaking up quickly. Pavanka tied up by Gretzky from behind. Brought in near side. Shot. Krieger save. Rebound. Ridley went behind the net. Priestich moves over. Gretzky tossed it out in front. Back to the point. Hatcher save. Rebound. Ridley save. Kelly Rudy down. 2 big saves. Gretzky starts the other way. Gretzky with Donnelly. Donnelly in the middle. He's open. Save made by Beaupre. Sandstrom shoots it over the net. Gretzky behind the net. Jammed up. Tried to center it. Couldn't get it out. Krieger comes the other way with the Kings changing. Caps will change behind the flow. They are flying end to end, and there'll be a slashing call on Sandstrom behind the play. A power play when we come back.
4-0 on this play. Good cut in by Todd Krieger. He went wide on Daryl Sador. Didn't have much of an angle. Tried to get it up high. After that, Rudy had to make 2 more good saves.
Caps back on the power play. Iafrate shot deflected in on Healy. He didn't cover. Taylor trying to knock it away as Cote had moved in from the point. Blake will get it out. Pat Conacher. Short-handed. The Kings again. Power play goal picked up on that last chance by Iafrate. Right back on the power play as Sandstrom got called away from the action on that slash. And that'll be an icing call on the Caps as Blake touches it up at the other end. We're going to check in with Steve.
Gary Thorne, thanks. In Tampa, the Lightning already leading the Rangers 2-0. Watch this play. Peter Klima, the shot goes off the skate of Kevin Lowe and by Mike Richter. They credit the goal to Brian Bradley. The bottom line, 3-0 Tampa over the Rangers after 1.
What is going on with the New York Rangers? There you see Tampa Bay, 2-4-1. They're putting on a show. Who would have thought the Islanders in Washington even now would be behind Tampa Bay?
Well, the LA Kings just came through Florida, and they had great things to say about both the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. They said they will give anybody a game this year.
Built from defense out. That kept them in games, and they've responded. Iafrate circling with Donnelly up on the forecheck. Power play for the Caps. Burridge. 2 goals in the period, had it knocked away. Caps leading 3-0. Minute 20 left on this power play chance. Washington Capitals 1 for 1 on the power play. They'll take that. They now have picked up 7 power play goals and 41 chances this season. As Burridge behind the net. Vabanka comes back to help out. Iafrate sneaking in. The defenseman always offensive threats. Broken up. Blake. Good play. Cote goes down. Blake on top of it. Puck's underneath Blake. He'll hang on and take the whistle with 57 left on the power play.
Boy, such aggressive penalty killing by the Kings. They play it aggressively. They attack all the time. That is Melrose style. And you really have to be prepared to rotate on a penalty kill when somebody's aggressive. You got 4 guys out there. If one guy moves 15 feet in one direction, all 3 players have to rotate in that same direction.
Wayne Gretzky leading in points with 20 and assists with 15 on the season. ESPN's National Hockey Night on Tuesday. How about this matchup? The Flyers and the Quebec Nordiques. Lindros returns to the land he refused to play in. We'll have it for you. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. We'll be there at the Colisée next Tuesday. Rudy just went wide. Boy, what a chance Ridley had on that one. Then he got dumped behind the net unceremoniously by Huddy. Comes to the near side. Caps have 35 seconds left on the power play. Vabanka lost it. Sador's got it. Sador coming with Gretzky shorthanded and Yari Curry. Curry tipped it into the zone. Kings just let it go. Hatcher back to get it. Gretzky the only one up on the forecheck. 3-0. Caps on top. 22 seconds left on the power play. Near side, Pelle Johansson. Johansson in. Rudy thought about going out and then let it go. Caps will try and set it up one more time. Ridley dropped it off. Vabanka back to it. Down to 10 seconds on the power play. Hatcher sends it in. Knocked down in front of the net. Sador tries to clear. Ends up in the seats with 3 seconds left on the Washington power play. They've got the lead. Burridge has 2 and Iafrate has 1.
You know, you wonder how you get into one of those mysterious sports black holes like the Washington Caps fell into. Terry Murray said today, camp was excellent. Guys came with intensity. The tempo was wonderful. Once camp ended, they opened in Winnipeg, and the day before their opener, the worst practice he has ever had as the head coach of the Washington Capitals. No, Ridley was gone for an arbitration. Iafrate wasn't in practice because of a groin injury. Randy Burridge wasn't there because of a nagging injury, but he said that shouldn't have been the reason. And for some strange, mysterious reason called the black hole of sports, and boy, players fall into it, teams fall into it. Nobody knows why.
You see how they're playing here tonight. An injury on the far side is holding up play in front of the Kings bench. It's not an injury, it's an equipment repair being done here for Kelly Rudy. He wouldn't mind having a little time right here. Rudy 12, 15, and 3 in his career against the Washington Capitals. The Capitals beat the Kings last season. Both games that were played here in Los Angeles, both went to the Washington Capitals. Don Beaupre, the goaltender right now, Rick Tabaracci, has been injured. He's down working out on a rehab at Portland. When he comes back, he's expected to be number 1. Beaupre 2, and Byron Defoe will be sent down. But you never know. Beaupre plays well here for a few more games.
Oh, he can play well. He's been a National League goaltender for a lot of years. But Terry Murray, I think, said it best. He said you need good goaltending early in the season, and you need it on the road early because all of the home teams are so psyched early in the season. They got new players, so you need it on the road especially.
Conacher the shot. Glove down in behind the net by Sean Anderson, the defenseman. Power play over. Caps don't convert on that one. 1 for 2 on the power play. Conacher back at his own end. This is the line. Get Conacher out on the ice. They like to send out to try and generate it when things kind of flatten out a little bit. Comes to center. The bump put on Mark Hardy, but he was able to control the puck long enough. At the line, Caps right back into the zone. Steve Konowalchuk. Konowalchuk, only 20 years old, playing his 3rd game this season. Played some last year. Started at the minors, but they wanted some help up here, so he's there. Thomas Sandstrom at center was trying to break, knocked away by Robitaille. The elbow put up by Iafrate. Comes back to center ice. Konowalchuk. Krieger doing battle. Sandstrom there. Konowalchuk bounces it back into the zone. And Mark Hardy will go back to get it. Hardy in his 9th game of the season. He's been in them all. Very few changes for the Kings from last year's team that lost to the Canadiens in the Stanley Cup final. Held it at the point. Blake moving in. Tried to center. Knocked away. McEachran could not play it. Comes to center. Overskated. And the Caps, they are playing aggressive hockey. Just dumping it into the zone, and they're beating the Kings to the puck when they get it in. McEachran lost that one. Blake goes back to get it. Cleared around near side. The banging picks up. Greg Berube is in there now. McEachran takes it for the Kings. Lost it. Berube had it. He lost it. Penalty coming up. Berube's raising Kane behind the play. He got Blake to take a swing at him, and I think Blake's going to draw the call. In any event, we're going to have penalties. We'll pick them up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Here at the home of the Washington Capitals, where Washington's got the 3-0 lead. Our Bud Light scoreboard will keep you updated on other scores going around in the National Hockey League. You hang in there, and we'll show you them too as we roll along tonight. Islanders, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Rangers at Tampa Bay, the other game. In the corner, Hatcher goes back to get it. Cleared up along the boards. Penalty picked up. Berube got the slashing at 13:43. Los Angeles 0 for 1 on the power play. Gets the chance here. They are down 3-0. They've got McEachran working on this power play. He's trying to jam it up in the middle. Carson working it as well. Back for Blake. Blake the shot. Deflected it. Ford got in. Kelly Johansson knocked it away. Hatcher comes over to get it, and Hatcher clears it out of the zone.
Pretty simple format for the Kings on this power play. Rob Blake just wanted to get it to the front of the net. 2 players in front scrambling for position, Shuchuk and Sean McEachran. But when the shots don't get through, all that blocking and jamming doesn't do very much in front.
Los Angeles Kings with a chance here in this 2nd power play of the game. 3 power play goals for Luc Robitaille, 3 for Alexei Zhitnik on their power play. A couple for Sean McEachran. They are their leaders goal-wise on the power play thus far this season. They get Gretzky out on the ice. Donnelly near side. Gretzky's already up. Donnelly, Gretzky, and Sandstrom. The line is together, stays together for the power play. Gretzky, Krieger takes him down. Krieger came up behind and got him pretty good. Blake, top of the circle, shot. Save! Rebound came up to the Washington Capitals. Good save by Beaupre.
And Gretzky is really letting the referee Lance Roberts have it. Now, guess what? I think Wayne Gretzky's going to get it unsportsmanlike.
Wayne Gretzky coming down ice right next to Lance Roberts on why a penalty wasn't called on him. Is picked up at unsportsmanlike 2-minute minor.
He started letting Roberts have it coming out of right out of the Capitals zone. And here's why he was upset. Donnelly was squeezed off the play, but watch Gretzky get hit by Todd Krieger. Now that's a pretty decent beef by Wayne Gretzky on interference, because Wayne didn't even come close to getting the puck, and Krieger took him out of the play. But still, the new rule is, and it's not officially a rule, I guess I'm talking about in style more than in print, is you just don't argue back to the referees.
It's always been in the book. You argue with the referees about a call, and you can get that 2 minutes. It's never been enforced. This year it is.
Yeah, that's the difference.
And now the power play lost as there were 30 seconds left to go on that Capitals penalty. Gretzky picks one up 15-13 on the unsportsmanlike conduct. He gets very few penalty minutes, only 6, including these 2 that he's picked up this season. But we go 4-on-4 now, and then there'll be a 1.5-minute power play coming up for Washington. 4:47 left to go. First period, the Capitals leading 4-on-4. See who gets the quicker skaters out there on this one. Mark Hardy lost it. Centering pass almost. They had Kelly Miller set up in front. He was all alone. Donnelly drops it off. Brought in right side, Charlie Huddy. He cleared it in the corner. Yari Curry moved over, couldn't get it. Poulin's got it on the far side. Dave Poulin got it out. Power play in 8 seconds for the Caps. Miller brings it in, drops it off. Shot, Poulin, save made. Kelly Rudy cut it down and covers up. 2 seconds left on the penalty to the Capitals. Steve Levy.
Gary Thorne, let's go to the Spectrum in Philly. Isles and Flyers, they were tied at 2 in the third. Gary Galley, the pass to Eric Lindros, the one-timer. Power play goal, his second, 7th on the year. Dmitry Yushkevich has since scored. Make that 4-2 Flyers.
Here's another look at the hit on Wayne Gretzky that led ultimately to his unsportsmanlike. And the puck was pretty well tied up in people's skates, and you can imagine that Wayne's a little sensitive. First of all, he's been injured a lot in the last couple of years, and the other thing is that it's his back, and it looked like Krieger took him from behind on that play.
Sure, that was the #1 reason he was so vociferous in the protest. Now he's sitting out and watching here. The great one in his 15th season. You see the points that he has put up. He is back on top of the National Hockey League, #1 in scoring right now. He already has 10 scoring titles to his credit. Trying to add another. Mario will have something to say about that when he gets back, which hopefully for the National Hockey League's sake will be this coming Thursday. Mario's scheduled back in a game on Thursday night. Hatcher trying to hold it in. Power play now for the Caps. Kings clear.
I really believe, though, that Wayne is the one player that, if spotted too big a lead and stayed healthy all year, Mario couldn't catch. He's the only guy.
Yep. Sure will be fun to watch if they're both healthy, though, won't it? Power play for the Washington Capitals. They've already got 1 power play goal, 1 for 2. Pavanka back for Ridley. Ridley around to Kristich. Kristich has Taylor move in. Hatcher. He's got a cannon. The shot blocked out deep. Post away from Taylor. Hatcher just moved up on him to hold it in the zone. They're circling and skating well. Pavanka back up to Johansson. Pavanka. Kristich far side. Couldn't get it to him. Ridley back to Johansson. Hatcher. The defenseman keeps sneaking in. Johansson trying to pass for Ridley that time and just missed everybody. Cleared out of the zone by Charlie Huddy. 30 seconds remaining on the power play chance. A 3-0 lead for the Washington Capitals. Randy Burridge, the first 2 goals in this game, and I am afraid he had the power play goal. They are charging. Bondra drops it. Shot deflected into the corner off Pat Peake. Burridge centered. Peake shot. What a save. Peake again. Deflected wide. I am afraid he can't hold it in. Mike Donnelly at the other end. Donnelly going in. Donnelly shorthanded. Saved by Beaupre. Don Beaupre robs Mike Donnelly of a shorthanded goal. The penalty is over and we're back to even strength. Gretzky back out on the ice. Great goaltending at each end. In the middle. Puck just sits. Poke to the boards. Blake wraps it around. Bondra got dumped as he went after it. He wanted a penalty and didn't get one either. Poke checked away. Zhitnik's got it. Zhitnik was headed to the bench. Suddenly found the puck and lost it. Burridge for the hat trick. Just over the right shoulder of Kelly Rudy. Pat Peake holds it in. Behind the net. Bondra doing battle. Down he goes. Mark Hardy. Charlie Huddy rather got a good piece of him behind the net. Zhitnik goes down. It's getting scrappy. Connor Walchuk centering pass deflected. Kings back the other way. Gary Shuchuk in. Shuchuk with McEachran trailing. Gretzky's in the middle. Near side Sador. Sador the defenseman. Almost penalty coming up. Connor Walchuk knocked it away and the call's going to be in front. It'll be a holding call as Gretzky got knocked down in front of the net. A power play coming up for the Kings. And there's our Bud Light scoreboard. You saw Philadelphia with that lead. And not much time left. Buffalo and Pittsburgh. And the Rangers down south. Boy, I don't know. Boston will be out west taking on Edmonton.
Well, Wayne Gretzky was one-on-one with Pat Peake from the blue line in, and Pat Peake being a 20-year-old, Wayne ended up drawing a penalty. And before the penalty, just a few moments ago, here was the breakaway and a good poke right here by Donnelly to get the puck over Cote's stick. Then he went to his forehand. You know, if you go to one side or the other on that play, it's almost a guarantee. You got to go high with it. You got to get it up in the air, and Mike Donnelly shot it right into Don Beaupre's pad. Gretzky came out of the box and stayed out there long enough to create his own power play. Here he goes.
28-year-old Pat Peake. If they don't score here, we'll say, hey, I took Gretzky down. My first year, 3rd game. If they score, he'll never mention it. Sandstrom couldn't control it. Kelly Johansson clears it out. Peake went for holding at 8:04. LA's 0 for 2 on the power play thus far. Coming into this game with 13 of them. They're now 13 for 48 on the power play. 2 for 10 on the road this season. Sandstrom hit by Hatcher. One thing that Terry Murray wants to see more of is that. He says Hatcher's not been giving us the body game we need, and he's talked with him about it. There's the body game, Kelly Miller, and he gets applauded for it.
Yeah, these fans will take anything right about now.
Yeah, well, the Caps, who have really struggled, winning only 1 game, and that was their last outing against Buffalo. They've had a week off, however, since that game. Held in by Blake. Power play for the Kings. Robitaille left it for Gretzky to Robitaille. Had it broken up by Pavanka. Cleared out. A minute left to go in the first period. We'll have the highlights from the other games in the National League coming up for you. We take you back to our studios during our first intermission. Steve and Jim will be there for you. Gretzky. Gretzky. Power play Kings. Gretzky looking in front. Kicked in front. Cote jammed it away. Had Granato in front of the net. Comes back in front again. Cote standing right there by Beaupre. Granato putting the heat on and trying to put the check on. Cote avoided it after he got rid of the puck. Jitnik back to get it. More time left on the power play than there is in the period. 22 seconds left in the period. That's what you're looking at right there. Again, the Caps get it out. Yari Curry sending it back in. They say it was onside. Jitnik back at his own blue line. That's the time remaining in the period. Jitnik drops it for Blake. Ton of ice time for Blake here in the first. Gary Curry's got it. Curry out with Donnelly. And Donnelly wound up, couldn't get the shot off. And Ridley came behind him and poked it away. And the Cap fans are on their feet. A 3-0 Washington lead. Beaupre a good period in net. Burridge 2 goals. I afraid he had the other. And Barry Melrose has got to regroup. 3-0 Caps. Steve?
All right, Gary Thorne, thanks, and we will see you gentlemen in about 10 minutes or so. Get you back for second period action. Coming up in the intermission, though, all sorts of news and highlights from around the NHL, including Tom Barrasso and the Pittsburgh Penguins trying to tack a 7-game losing streak on the Buffalo Sabres. That and much more coming up on the Intermission Report. This is National Hockey Night on ESPN.
Tonight's first intermission report is presented by the New Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
And welcome back, everyone, to the New Dodge Intermission Report, our National Hockey Night studios here at ESPN. I'm Steve Levy. The score of your game after 2 periods of play, Washington Capitals surprising the LA Kings by a score of 3-0. Randy Burridge, a pair of those. The story, though, around the NHL takes us to Detroit, where Captain Steve Yzerman will be out for at least a month. Yzerman suffering a herniated disc. He will be out again, at least for a month, possibly 6 weeks. Last night, Joe Louis Arena, the Red Wings won the game 6-2 over Winnipeg, but Yzerman forgets to keep his head up. He's run into by Thomas Steen. Yzerman goes down. You can see, not exactly sure where he is. Eventually would get up under his own power. Forget about the bench. Skated right to the dressing room. Hockey tonight. The Flyers and the Islanders. Marty McInnis bangs home the backhander there. That made it 2-1 in favor of the Islanders. But Philadelphia would come back. Joseph Veronic ties the game from Hallgood and Brindamore on the power play. That would make it 2-2. Third period, Eric Lindros had earlier scored a goal. Here's going to do it again. The one-time feed from Galley at Hallgood also on the power play. That made it 4-2 after Dmitry Yushkevich scored. Travis Green scored for the Islanders while the Flyers, while they had pulled the goaltender. So Philadelphia, a final now, 4-3 Islanders off to a 1-6 start. Tampa, Florida, side of the Rangers and the Lightning. Danton Cole, this is unassisted off the giveaway. This blast beats Mike Richter, his third of the year, and that would give them a 2-0 lead. Brian Bradley off the deflection. Klima's shot went off Kevin Lowe's skate. That made it 3-0 on the power play. That's where we stand. They are still in the second period. Pittsburgh and Buffalo going at it from the odd in Buffalo. Jaromir Jagr seems to be one of the only players scoring. Great backhander. Beats Dominik Hasek. That in the first period. And then Buffalo would get the goal from Yuri Kimmelev from Sutton and Audette, 7:40 of the first mark. And there's your scores. They play out the second period. Midway through that game, Pittsburgh has a 2-1 lead over the Buffalo Sabres, who continue to lose. Word around Pittsburgh, Jim Schoenfeld, is that finally the Penguins will get some scoring help when they get Mario Lemieux back next Thursday against Quebec. He's expected to play, and we'll have it for you on ESPN2. But what do you expect right away out of Mario after missing really all the training camp?
Well, I think you said it in one word. You expect goals. Mario Lemieux is going to get the production of the Penguins going again. They have really not produced well. Power play, 15.2%, 21st in a 26-team league. That's way down. They're averaging only 3 goals a game for. Last year, 4.4, so you know Lemieux's going to help. What else is he going to bring? Leadership. Most teams, when the big guy's out of the lineup, someone wants to jump up and be that leader, but not so with the Penguins. It seems as long as they know the big guy's coming back, they're willing to wait for their leader, and what a leader. 2 Stanley Cups, and many people think this year, including myself, he'll lead them to a 3rd.
All right, he started skating again this past week, and we expect to see him Thursday night. You can see him, too, if you tune in to ESPN2. Quebec Nordiques visit the Pittsburgh Penguins again. Mario scheduled to make an appearance. Our game, Washington leads Los Angeles 3-0 after 1 period of play. This is National Hockey Night. And welcome back, everyone, to the new Dodge Intermission Report. Score after 1 period of play. Washington Capitals lead the Los Angeles Kings by a score of 3-0. Well, Wayne Gretzky is back, not just back on the ice in uniform, but back on top of the NHL scoring charts. The Great One certainly is back. After going pointless in the opener, the Great One has registered 5 goals, 15 assists for 20 points. And it's no coincidence the Kings lost that very first game, and since then have yet to lose again. Quarterbacking the power play. Here he holds it, allowing Alex Zhitnik to score. This is a guy who was very close to not coming back.
I love coming to the rink for practice. I like bringing my son down. I like being in the locker room with the camaraderie of the guys. I like to travel with them. And, you know, it's been my life for, you know, since I was 3 years old. And well, I only started professionally at it at 17, but it's been my life for 29 years. So it's hard just to say, okay, that's enough, especially when you go as far as we did, and it's as exciting as it was. And, I mean, it's tough to walk away from. So I think my decision, though, probably might have been a lot more difficult if we weren't in a good team and a good situation.
Wednesday night, how long has Gretzky been playing? Well, long enough to see his kid brother, Brent Gretzky. Watch the face-off. Hey, Brent wins it. What's going on here? Wonder if he gave that to him. More on that later. Scramble in front of the net. Brent finds the puck like Wayne, but unlike Wayne, clanks it off the post. Brent Gretzky also gets into a bit of a scrap. Goes up against Mark Hardy in this game, showing some feistiness, which you don't often see out of older brother Wayne. Wayne controls the power play, of course, by passing to Blake. Passes it back to Gretzky, the one-timer to Curry for the score. Wayne at the face-off dot. This time decides to shoot it. As you heard Bill Clement say earlier, he's shooting the puck a lot more. Check out the quote from Brent Gretzky. Strictly business. We took 4 or 5 face-offs together. I think I won 1, and I think he let me win it 2. Brent Gretzky and Wayne Gretzky going at it. Kind of a nice story. Maybe it keeps Wayne a little younger, seeing his kid brother there. And now, you've been on the ice. Does that actually happen with your brother, friend, family? Would you let a guy win a face-off from you?
If it was a neutral zone draw and he was a blood relative, maybe you let him win a neutral zone face-off, not a defensive zone face-off. But the thing is, it has to be a thrill for Brent Gretzky. It's a thrill for any player that steps in the ice with Wayne Gretzky. At the All-Star game last year, it was amazing how many people went up to Wayne and wanted photographs taken. This is the all-time greatest player in the game, and it's got to be great for Brent. Great for all hockey players to be on the same ice surface.
Not a bad public relations move by Tampa as
no,
well.
Phil's thinking all the time, Phil Esposito.
And, of course, the Los Angeles Kings will be in action. They'll take on the Detroit Red Wings. That is next Wednesday night on ESPN2. We've got all the great ones except for one great one. Steve Yzerman, as you heard earlier, out 4 to 6 weeks, a herniated disc. So Detroit will rely heavily on Sergei Fedorov. Much more coming up. This is National Hockey Night on ESPN. Welcome back, everyone. Los Angeles Kings unbeaten in their last 7. They're being beaten right now. Randy Burridge has a pair of goals tonight. The Washington Capitals leading the LA Kings 3-0 after 1 period of play. Hey, folks, next time we get together, Tuesday night, National Hockey Night in Quebec. The fans there always have a very warm welcome for Eric Lindros and the Philadelphia Flyers. Coverage begins 7:30 Eastern Time. Washington leads LA 3-0. Second period coming up on National Hockey Night. This is the new Dodge Intermission Report.
ESPN's National Hockey Night is brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And by over 6,500 Radio Shack stores nationwide.
Washington Capitals have been outscored 11-3 in first periods before tonight, but the Washington Capitals have got a 3-0 lead over the Los Angeles Kings. Welcome back, everybody. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement for the Caps. A tremendous start here as they really revved it up, even without Mr. Hunter.
The Jekyll and Hydes of the sports world.
They are, aren't they?
I guess in a nutshell, the Capitals out everythinged the LA Kings in the first period. They did not give the Kings a chance to get their offense going. Their man-to-man coverage, for one thing, the Capitals' coverage was terrific, especially deep in their own zone. I mean, anytime an LA King moved to the puck, watch this play. Hatcher on one guy, then Konowalchuk behind the net on Jari Kurri. And look at Johansson. He follows Tony Granato all the way out into the deep slot until, look, both other forwards, 14 and 18, Peak and Burridge, come back in to try and help out. And if that's not enough, they're out hitting. And if you didn't see the hits, you could hear them.
Boy, that was Kelly Miller. He had his contract matched. He'd been offered a whole lot of money somewhere else, ended up staying here. Those kind of hits they'll take, won't mind paying for them. One man who's not happy, assistant coach Cap Rader with the Kings, with El Morganti.
Thanks, Gary. I'm here with a familiar face from the Stanley Cup Finals, Cap Rader, Kings assistant coach. Cap, looks like a reversal of what we expected from these teams.
Yeah, they've really come at us. We've had trouble with these guys the last 2 years. We got out-muscled tonight. The thing is, we haven't been working. We've been outworked, out-muscled, outmanned on a back check, out-muscled along the boards. Their goalie's made a couple big stops, and Kelly's struggling a bit. But, you know, we've got to pick it up. If you don't have good work ethic, you're just an average team. We've got to pick it up.
Thanks a lot, Cap. Gary?
All right, Cap Rader and the Kings obviously just weren't ready for the attack coming out here. You see the numbers for Gretzky, 7 minutes, 41 seconds, no shots. And he was on the ice for the power play goal that was picked up by the Washington Capitals.
And Gary, I can't even remember Wayne being in the position to take a shot.
Not even close. They bottled him up really well. We're back to even strength now as we start this second period, with the Washington Capitals on top by a score of 3-0. The shots were even in the first period at 12-12, but certainly not the play. Randy Burridge has picked up 2 goals, one at 37 seconds, one at 6:45. Babonka and Peak on the first one, Peak and Iafredi on the second, and it was Al Iafredi on a power play goal, 9:06 for the third. Knocked away by Beaupre. Kings with the heat in front. McEachran rolled back in again. Chuchuk covered up Beaupre, and right now this veteran goaltender is red hot.
And the most action that Wayne Gretzky was involved in the first period involved getting hit, and kind of from behind on this play from Todd Krieger. Gretzky argued the fact that no penalty was called on Krieger and picked up an unsportsmanlike penalty himself. Came out of the penalty box and then drew a penalty to create his own power play, but Wayne was forced into being quiet in the first period. Gary, I agree with you. The Capitals did not give Wayne the skating room or the time that he wanted. For that matter, they didn't give it to anybody on the LA Kings. Nobody looked good. I didn't even notice Luke Robitaille in the first period, and he's one of their big gunners.
They were beating him to the step on everything here. Donnelly behind the net. Donnelly centered. Gretzky had already gone by. Comes back to Krieger. Krieger, near side is Kristich. Ridley on the right. Ridley gets it. Ridley with Zhitnik hanging on. Ridley pumps it in. Rebound. Krieger couldn't get it lined up. Todd Krieger just couldn't get it to sit. It was rolling off the stick. Iafredi breaks up the pass intended for Gretzky. Bounced over Donnelly's stick. Ridley got it back the other way. And the Caps' transition game tonight has been outstanding. Kristich moving in. They're moving out of their own end of the offensive zone in a hurry. Iafredi save made Kelly Rudy. Batted it away and got it by Kristich in the middle. Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky starting it up ice for Donnelly. Donnelly, Gretzky, Blake. Blake moving in. Save made. Beaupre got it with a shoulder up over the glass. Right now he's a wall.
Yeah, there's no question that Beaupre is the difference in this hockey game.
Our Bud Light scoreboard. There's the final. Philadelphia and the kid is hot. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Buffalo struggling early on this season, and Tampa Bay trying to upset at home the Rangers.
You know, I mentioned Don Beaupre really is the reason the Capitals are ahead 3-0. You have to combine with that the fact that Kelly Rudy had at least one questionable goal. Randy Burridge's second goal that wasn't deflected. So if Rudy stops Burridge's second goal, and if Don Beaupre doesn't stop Mike Donnelly on the breakaway, we got a 2-1 game. And you know, there's a story about a dog involving an if as well. But that's how important goaltending is. There's not a position in all of professional sports that really can affect the success or failure of a team as much as goaltending. I don't care if it's a quarterback in football, starting pitching in baseball, Nobody has the pressure that these guys do because they alone can affect the success or failure of their team all by themselves every game.
And no better shown than what Florida and Anaheim have done. They are both in the top 12 in goaltending.
Here's Blake's chance. Was it headed over the net anyway? Yeah, I think maybe, but Don Beaupre still was in the right position to make the save. Ron Blake tried to chip it over him, and it hit Beaupre's shoulder as he was going down.
Kelly Johansson giving chase at the other end. Johansson takes it behind the net. Granato and Robitaille both up, double forecheckers that time. Kelly Miller brings it. Miller, $2.6 million on the matching contract offer the Caps had to make in order to keep him here. He got it. He's here, and he's played a decent game here tonight. Robitaille brings it the other way. Robitaille to Granato. Poke check away from him. Gary Curry had it in the zone, lost it. Daryl Sador comes back to get it. The Kings, as they did last year, it's sometimes hard to tell who the defensemen are and who the forwards are. They reverse positions oftentimes. With these two teams, that means that everybody's doing it. Gary Curry scores! His 527th goal, 14th all-time in goals, Jari Kurri.
And Gary, he knew exactly where this one was going. Look, the Caps turn the puck over at the blue line, and all three forwards get caught. Robitaille was late coming out of the zone, and Kurri on the transition. Good counterattack by Jari Kurri, was able to get open. Look at his head. Where's he looking? He looks down at the puck, then up, then back down. Maybe he labeled that for the short side high. That just wasn't a put your head down and blast. He knew where that was going.
He's got 3 goals on the year and 9 points to move him up among the top 10 scorers in the National Hockey League early on. And the Kings are on the board. An even strength goal by Jari Kurri makes it a 3-1 Washington lead. Sean Anderson going in behind the net. Anderson up on the forecheck, Pat Conacher. Caps able to move it out, though. Kelly Rudy's side of the net. Tim Waters comes back to get it. Berube moved in on him. On the boards, Warren Reichel. Conacher moves over. Conacher, Reichel, Taylor out there right now. Near side. Shitnick, the defenseman, hit the outside of the net. It deflected off a skate before it got in and just off the side of the net that time. Berube batted it off the boards. Poulin trying to get it out. Does. Curry's goal is 3rd of the season at .232. Robitaille and Hardy picking up the assist. Pat Conacher sending in. Shuchuk looking to the middle. Puck checked away. Great play by Sylvain Cote as he was going down on the ice. Reached out and poke checked it.
It was a great play, but it sure was a low percentage play. If he misses it, Shuchuk is cold turkey one-on-one.
Intercepted, re-intercepted at center. Kings trying to get this to a 1-goal game. Down the middle, Carson. Carson in front, not quite. Had Charlie Huddy set up there. Washington Capitals leading it 3-1. Babanka shot, just missed that one wide. Ripped it to the wide side. Iafrate, fire, circle, shot, save, rebound. Babanka covered up by Kelly Rudy. Both teams offensive-minded and showing it here. 3-1 Caps.
All right, in the middle of your screen, you'll see number 3 in white, Sylvain Cote. He was backing up. Here's how he had to make that low percentage play. He went down to his knees, I think, expecting a shot from Gary Shuchuk, so he was ready for the block, and that's why he was left with no option except a desperation poke check, and it worked.
Priestich lost it. Gretzky moving in. Not quite. Iafrate poked it away from Gretzky as he headed to the net. Gretzky with Sandstrom. Gretzky wrap around. Hit off the side of the net. Gretzky's got it back. Iafrate on him. Iafrate's working Gretzky pretty hard. Seems to be staying with him here in the zone. Ridley can't get it by Blake. Kings are picking the play up. Gretzky again. Gretzky shot. Score! Blake moved in from the right point. Gretzky set him up. 3-2.
Man, did they make this look easy. You were right. Iafrate was giving Gretzky a rough ride, but then they all left him. And look, Wayne was allowed to stand in the corner. You got to know that if Wayne Gretzky is allowed to go behind the net too often, one of these babies is going to happen. Both Kristich, number 8, and Iafrate, 34, went for Gretzky. There goes 8. There goes 34. Look at Sandstrom was there. If Blake doesn't get it, Sandstrom had a chance at it too. So the Capitals, as good as they were on their man-to-man coverage in the first period, Gary, are equally as bad on this play. It looks like they all wanted to jump out of the zone and go on offense on that play, and they got caught because Gretzky was in the corner by himself, and now Rob Blake has had to leave.
After scoring the goal, Blake is out. Whether it's equipment or something physical, we'll have to wait and see. Blake has got his third goal of the game, and it's third goal of the season, rather, and it's now a 3-2 Capitals lead. Blake, who led the defenseman in points for the Kings last season, gets the assist from Gretzky, who now has picked up 16 on the year, and now up to 21 points, leading the National Hockey League in scoring.
Something about Jekyll and Hyde, wasn't it, that I said between periods?
We were talking about that.
Yeah. And Wayne will have a field day if the Capitals play the way they just did on that goal. The reason Wayne didn't do anything in the first period, it wasn't because of effort or lack of effort or ice time. He had both of those. The Capitals were tight. They're all over the place now. It almost appears as if they felt this game was over, or at least in the bag, and want to jump onto offense, because as soon as the puck got out near the blue line on that last play, they all decided to jump up on the play. Well, guess what? The puck was not out. It was close to being out, but it was not out.
That has killed them this season, the defensemen who just want to play offense and not covering up. Capitals get that one, start the other way. Sent into the corner, chased down Zhitnik. It's a pretty good hit. Charlie Huddy was there with him. Capitals trying to get this lead back up to 2 anyway. Robitaille, though, gets the puck in the middle for Tony Granato. Robitaille with him on the left side. Zhitnik the trailer. Zhitnik back for Robitaille. Can't get it. Rolls free. Jari Kurri, who's got a goal, sends it around to the near side. 14:30 left to go. Second period. Here at Landover. Zhitnik tying his man up. Kelly Miller at center. Johansson the puck. Johansson sends it wide side. Shot. Save made by Kelly Rudy on Peter Bondra. Bondra had all kinds of time to shoot. Went for the left corner upstairs.
And Rudy has definitely settled down, and so have the Kings. But one thing you know about the Kings, Gary, and we've talked about their attack, their young defensemen always join the rush. And if the Capitals don't have at least 3, possibly 4 men back, the Kings are going to skate right by them. On the last rush, Tony Granato brought the puck through the neutral zone, and Zhitnik almost ran over him, getting up on the play.
Goals scored for these two teams last season, and the Capitals 2 wins, 10-3 and 7-3. So they had some pretty good shootouts, and this one could end up that way. Shot on, but never got in on goal. Gretzky blocked it. Gretzky sends it up for Donnelly, and again Sylvain Cote. Gretzky gets it back. Gretzky leading it. He's fired up. Gretzky, the backhand, instead drops it off. Everybody moving in. Beaupre knocked away. Gretzky back to get it. Centered. Gretzky again. Centered. Far side. No chance on the shot. Kristich comes away with it. Donnelly got knocked down as he wound up. They've opened this game up. Krieger's shot. That deflected. Kristich knocked it into the near side corner. Kings trying to open this up and run right now. Gretzky still out there. Takes the pass from Donnelly. Gretzky tried to drop it off. Cote again. Cote coming with Krieger. 2-on-1 break. Krieger on the right. Cote in the middle. Krieger save made by Kelly Rudy. 2-on-1 opportunity. Rob Blake had to leave the game. Al Morganti downstairs. Al.
Gary, Rob Blake has a very badly bruised hip. It's bad enough he's taken off most of the equipment. They've asked for the Caps doctor to come over and take a look at him. Don't know if he'll come back yet or not. He looks very sore. Back to you, Gary.
All right, Blake getting the goal at 4:45, his third of the year. Gretzky and Thomas Sandstrom had the assists on it, making it a 3-2 lead as they've come back. The Kings have with 2 goals this period. Jari Kurri has the other. 13:32 remaining in this second period. A wide open hockey game, ESPN's National Hockey Night. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and Al Morganti, delighted to have you with us. On the face-off, one back to the point. Pavanka won it. Kelly Rudy blocks that one, put the blocker on it, sends it up into the seats on the shot by Sean Anderson. Kelly Rudy, an outstanding career, 212 wins, 167 losses, 61 ties at 32 years old. He's bounced around and really found a home last year under the new coach and with a new team.
And new pads. Look at these pads. He's got a design of the American flag. It's in black and white and silver, but there are even designs on pads now. Little set of Bond pads, and when they come together, they form the American flag.
Sponsored by, in the corner, Pavanka's got it. A real rub out. Pat Conacher right there. That was a battle in the corner. Taylor clears it up, but not out of the zone. Dump back into Pavanka. Pavanka looking in front. Randy Burridge is there trying to help out. Conacher battling in the corner. Burridge came over. Pavanka's there, pinned up on the boards. Mark Hardy, the big check, number 24 of the Kings. Zhitnik's got it. Zhitnik goes back behind his own net. This game being played at a furious pace right now. There's Taylor at center. Couldn't handle that one. Taken out by Anderson. Cleared up along the boards. This is going to be an icing call when touched up at the far end by Mark Hardy. Gotta like this pace. Capitals leading the Kings 3-2.
Well, if you don't think Wayne Gretzky isn't in shape, we're going to show you something that will illustrate that he is, in fact, in shape. Watch him back check. 99 in black, number 3 in white is ahead of him. This was at the end of a shift. It was a 2-on-1 in which Todd Krieger chose to shoot, but Wayne had tracked down Cote all the way back down the ice. And that was at the end of a shift. This summer, he worked out in a combination of martial arts and aerobics in Los Angeles. He really enjoyed it, and he said he's really in as good a shape as he's ever been.
Puck held on to, and a couple of chances by the Kings. Beaupre wanting to stop that play. Let's check back with El Morganti. El?
Well, Gary, Rob Blake was checked out by the Caps doctor, and they still make these guys tough, Gary. No matter how big that paycheck, they're just as tough. Blake with a badly bruised hip. He's back in the game. Back to you guys.
All right, we'll keep an eye on how much he plays out there for the remainder of the game for Barry Melrose's Kings. Trying to continue their win streak after opening up the season with that one loss that they suffered against Vancouver. They've run off since then a 4-1-2 streak, fifth best record in the National Hockey League right now. And there is Rob Blake, who got that last goal, back on the bench.
See how he was sitting back on the bench so nobody could sit right next to his hip and press against it? He's actually sitting way back deep on the bench.
Don't touch me. Keith Jones has it. Jones will fire it in. Kelly Rudy had to make the save on that one. Shot deflected into the corner. Jones following it all the way across ice. Cote's shot deflected down but wide. Berube was in front of the net. Jones sends it back for Berube. He and Sador collide. Poulin drops it back. Sador there. Poulin tried to kick at it. Couldn't get it. Berube trying to get it to the front of the net. Sador blocked it. Wouldn't let him get it in. Jam up Poulin in the corner. Kings just trying to take the heat off. Go all the way around the boards with it. But not out of the zone. Carson back the other way. Sador up. Stepping up on it. Cote shot tip is still loose in front. And finally not out. Iafrate. Save. Rebound. Kicked wide. Berube. Iafrate back in the corner avoiding the check. Has it. Berube shot. Save. Iafrate centered. Block. Kick to the corner. Pressure put on. Shewchuk. Couple of good moves down low on Iafrate. Finally wrapped around by Charlie Huddy, and they'll just ice this to take the heat off. The Caps coming hard. Other games of the National Hockey League on our Bud Light scoreboard. We keep you updated as we roll along here on ESPN's National Hockey Night. The final game started at 6. Philadelphia getting the victory there over the Islanders, while Pittsburgh has gone up on Buffalo. And they're also in Tampa Bay, the Rangers.
Well, the Phillies have their wild thing, and the Capitals have their wild thing in Al Iafrate. Gosh, in that last sequence, I'm sure Kelly Rudy just had time to say about a 0.03 second prayer. Here's Iafrate along the boards. Real good move to get by Shewchuk. Then he dished off to Craig Berube. Berube didn't get much on it. But before that, Iafrate walked into one. And we are talking about the NHL's top shooter, at least the hardest shooter. He has won 2 of the fastest shot competitions in the last 3 years at the All-Star break.
Over 100 miles an hour. Rip shot he's got. In the corner, Kelly Miller pinned it up. Connor Walchuk moving it back out. Caps are keeping the heat on here. Dropped off. Not cleared by Zhitnik. Connor Walchuk again moving in. The youngster, Connor Walchuk, and Zhitnik, another youngster. Kelly Miller has it. Kelly Miller, the setup in front. What a jam going on in front of the net. Waters battling Bondra. I mean, pushing and kicking and shoving. Tim Waters, now a penalty's coming up, and it's in front of the net. Waters and Bondra. The penalty is going to be a holding call in the corner, I guess. But Bondra and Waters became one.
Yeah, you guys fight your own war in front of the net. We got something else going on in the corner.
Lance Roberts was right there behind the net, letting what was going on in front go, but not what was going on in the corner. And we'll see who gets what here. Yari Curry is on his way into the penalty box, and that's going to be it.
Well, remember, Lance Roberts has already called a stick hold on Sean McEachern. Now, Curry just skated out of the right. And that's Zhitnik against the board, so I don't even see Yari Curry in that play. Here's what was going on in front, though, while Curry was picking up his penalty.
That was the end of it. Boy, before that, they were really kicking each other. Yari Curry out. Another holding the stick call coming at 9:04. So a power play coming up here again with the Caps leading by a score of 3-2. Ridley brought it into the zone, gets it back. Washington 1 for 3 on the power play thus far. And the Kings able to clear Johansson back to get it over to Hatcher. He couldn't control it center. Batted up in the air by Taylor. Pat Conacher in the penalty killing unit. Conacher knocked it away. Priestich came in. Taylor trying to pin it up. Taylor against the board. 17 years. Taylor has played in the National Hockey League, and Dave Taylor has spent every one of them in a Kings uniform. You may not see numbers like that for a long time. The Kings short-handed. Zador takes the hit. Kelly Johansson got him, but he got the puck into the zone. Hatcher starts it up ice. Charging defenseman to Pavonka. Pavonka bouncing it around for Ridley. Pavonka, Priestich up front. Priestich behind the net. Hit by Blake, who's out there in the penalty killing unit. Hatcher the shot. Deflected rebound by Priestich. Hatcher steps in. Hatcher had it. Lost it. Up for Donnelly. Couldn't control, but the Kings get it out.
Now, the one area of Rob Blake's game that may be hurt by that sore hip is one of his big assets. That's his hitting game. And you noticed on those last two hits on the penalty kill deep in his own zone, he was hitting straight on, trying to hit with his arms in front of him instead of turning to the side to hit with his side and his hip.
Down the middle, a shot saved. Kelly Rudy. Rebound, Burridge. He's got the trick. Randy Burridge, the hat trick. The first hat trick of his career.
Well, he picked a good time for it. And it looks like Pat Pete, number 14, will pick up his third assist of this game. The 20-year-old rookie who was only in his third game, and a pileup really between Zhitnik and Randy Burr and at least Kelly Rudy allowed Randy Burridge to get good wood on it and find some type of hole, but he scored them on the forehand and on the backhand. And some semblance of sanity has been restored to this Cap Center crowd.
A 4-2 lead for the Caps. The second power play goal. Randy Burridge has 3 goals in the game. The first hat trick he has ever had. Konowalchuk in the corner. The Kings try and pick up the play again. Puck was loose there. Shot wide by Kelly Miller. Cote sends it back inside Pavonka. They got Konowalchuk in front. Yari Curry took it down. Puck rolled in on Kelly Rudy. 10:29 on the power play goal. Burridge from Peak and Bondra. They applaud the hat trick. Peak, 3 assists. The trick, Burridge. There it goes. Here, Peak was picked in the first round, 14th in the '91 draft. Comes from Rochester, Minnesota. Was the #1 player in the Canadian League last year. Shot deflected wide to Kelly Rudy. Peak's already added 3 assists in this game. 4 in the season. What a shot. Getting up.
That was Brian Curran on Gary Shuchuk, and Curran just about ran over him. He set a target about 10 feet behind Shuchuk and drove right through him, and that's one of the reasons Curran is here.
And they're going back after Curran. Curran really got him. Zador tried to get Curran on the far side. There's Shuchuk near side. He's doing battle. Shuchuk down on the ice with Curran, wants a piece of him. They're still down on the ice. A penalty coming up. There they are. Lance Roberts, the referee, was standing right there. Shuchuk found him. No match size-wise is Shuchuk for Curran.
Yeah, but Gary Shuchuk's got a lot of junkyard dog in him. Junkyard dog.
Ooh, boy, did he get leveled. He's still talking to Curran, who went in on the other side.
Here's the hit, the original. That's Shuchuk. See what I mean about Curran trying to drive right through him?
Well, the penalties are picked up by both for roughing. He let it go, Gary Roberts did, as Lance Roberts, as long as he thought he could, and then said, we'll take you both. Terry Murray won't mind seeing some of that style of play right now for these Washington Capitals. He wants to pick up the physical presence, and Barry Melrose has always had that out of his club from last season. Off the face-off, Wayne Gretzky's got it. 4-on-4 situation. Up for Sandstrom. The Kings again down by 2 in this 4-on-4 setting. Darryl Sador. Gretzky, Sandstrom. And on the near side, Charlie Huddy, the 4 skaters, picked up by Hatcher. Hatcher looking for Kelly Miller. Miller pulling with crisscross with him. Poulin heading to the net. Miller tried to set him up. Poulin behind the net. Sador took him out. Hatcher back to Poulin. Poulin for Kelly Miller. Knocks it down. Backhand shot. Rudy the save. Puck loose in front. Back to the point for Johansson, but Gretzky was there. Gretzky, the move on Hatcher. Hatcher stays with him. Centered. Poulin moves in on Sandstrom. Sandstrom got it back to the point. Backhanded in, or the attempt at least by Zhitnik was blocked by Poulin, taken by Johansson. Johansson behind his own net. 7:36 to go in the second period. Gretzky with Sandstrom. Tipped it in. Save made by Beaupre. Sandstrom was there all alone, set up by Gretzky, but he couldn't get it by Beaupre. Gretzky all over the place, checking and carrying the puck. Zhitnik will touch up, and this will be icing.
Gary, I can't remember the last time I saw Wayne Gretzky come down and try to beat somebody one-on-one, especially a great, big, good defensive defenseman like Kevin Hatcher. That tells me something about his conditioning. He can tell me that he's in great shape, but then you sit up here and you want to see it. There he is battling with Hatcher in front, but he came down on the one-on-one to start this rush off and just simply tried to beat him. Then on the play, he broke it up, set up Sandstrom in front.
Beaupre just hung tough. Gretzky, he was hollering at Lance Roberts again, the referee. He's still unhappy with Roberts. That's who he was chatting with. Aya Brady. Banged up off the boards to Kristich. Kristich dumped at the center. Robitaille there, couldn't get it. Jari Kurri. Curry had it knocked away by Ridley. Ridley, Curry, Kristich brought in, and that's going to be offsides. 37 seconds left in the Magic Minors.
Here's the intercept by Wayne Gretzky. He's even forechecking this year. One of the differences is in past years he'd stand behind the net in the corners and wait for the puck to come to him. Not now.
We also have been told that Blake has gone back to the dressing room. He came out and tried to play, but he's no longer out there. Obviously tried it and didn't think it was going to work. Let me correct myself on Burridge. That is his third hat trick. First he's picked up this year, but he does have 3 career hat tricks now. Not his first. Third up on the boards. The Kings trailing 4-2 with 6:44 left to go here in the second period. Ridley still has it. Kristich scores!
Well, the Kings should have been out on this play. First of all, the turnover. Ridley. Well, watch what Ridley does. I think he's passing to Mark Hardy right there, number 24 in black. Maybe Hardy yelled at him. It came right back to him, went right to Kristich, and up between Hardy's legs and over the shoulder of Kelly Rudy. But there were 3 Kings and Ridley, and it looked like Ridley was passing to Mark Hardy. And very often in the heat of battle, a smart player will yell, Mike. Will yell the other guy's name, and if you're not sure, you dump it to the wrong guy. Well, it looked like Ridley was trying to dump it to the wrong team. It bounced right back to him, and he just threw it to Kristich, who dumped it up over Kelly Rudy's shoulder. 5-2 now.
Kristich has 5 points this year. They're all goals. Not unusual. Dmitry Kristich had 31 last year, and they're still on the attack. Bobcat had poke checked away as he tried to get into the zone. Back comes Tony Granato. We haven't heard much from Tony Granato tonight. Donnelly out there now with Granato and Charlie Honey. Shuchuk takes it down low. Shuchuk all the way around. Center. Donnelly. Save made. Beaupre rebound. Poke can't get it out. Daryl Zador shot wide. Donnelly behind the net. Got tied up. Shot saved. It's underneath Beaupre and a penalty coming. Kristich getting the goal. 13-23. Ridley got the assist. Power play when we come back.
Behind the net, number 38 for the Capitals, Sean Anderson, is guilty of a cross-check on this play, and you can see Roberts saw it all. Don Beaupre actually got dumped on the play, too, and had to make a good save while lying on his back off Gary Shuchuk. That All-American line for the LA Kings decided to get something going with Donnelly and Granato. And really, Gary, and we've said this, I said this a couple of times during our breaks, the Capitals are fine as long as they don't have to play in their end.
Let them be up there shooting, and they got 5 skaters who will gladly do it. But they've got a 5-2 lead. Power play for the Los Angeles Kings, who are 0 for 3 on the power play. Anderson out on the cross-check at 13:59. Washington's gone 2 for 4 on the power play in this game. Daryl Sador sends it in. So the opportunity here for Los Angeles on the advantage. Can't control, and Kelly Miller clears it out of the zone. Washington last year finished up with the 7th best shorthanded unit and second best at home. They were tough to score power play goals on here at home. Last year, they were tough to score on in the Cap Center. This year, they're tough to score on in the U.S. Air Arena. In behind the net, Beaupre. Kelly Johansson trying to bang it out. Sandstrom, Gretzky. He got jammed up. He's not had a lot of skating room and cleared out of there by Dave Poulin.
And this may be Dave Poulin's best game as a penalty killer for the Caps, because that's one of the reasons they got him and signed him as a free agent out of the Boston Bruins organization. He really didn't kill all that well up until now, but he's had a strong game tonight.
That one ends up over the glass and in the seats. 42 seconds remaining on the power play for Los Angeles. There is the Wild Thing version thereof. Motorcycle riding, tattooed, get down, L.I. afraid. But what a great sense of humor this guy's got. Talking with him is like another world experience.
Well, Terry Murray, his coach, will say, don't let all of that stuff fool you. It's kind of like a smokescreen. He's a really bright guy, and he knows what he's talking about at all times, but he likes that kind of that wild thing sort of image. But Terry Murray has a lot of faith in L.I. Afrady's common sense underneath all the wild thing stuff.
4:43 left to go in the second period. The Kings on the power play, down here by a score of 5-2. Connor Walchuk moves out on Yari Curry, who's got a goal in this game. Curry looking for Donnelly in front. Tony Granato. Granato back for Curry. Granato back to Donnelly. Donnelly jammed up by Cote. Picked up by Yari Curry. Granato back to him. Curry. They've got Huddy in the high slot. Trying to get Donnelly down on the low side post. Intended for Huddy. Pavanka blocked it. Pavanka set it free along the boards, and Connor Walchuk cleared it out.
Boy, what a battle going on behind the play between Tony Granato and L.I. Afraidy. Granato gets outweighed by 35 pounds on the play, but they were going at it with fists and sticks and everything in the corner.
Donnelly, his shot blocked by Afraidy. Sends it back behind the net. Yari Curry, penalties over. Kings do not convert. They're struggling on the power play. They've not been able to get one as they are 0-4-4. Steve Levy.
Gary Thorne, thanks. How about a trip to the Aud in Buffalo? Penguins are leading the Sabres, who remember lost 6 straight. 2-1 Pittsburgh up. Brad May makes the nifty move, cuts in, and Tom Barrasso is there to stone him. So the Pens still lead 2-1. Lots of time left in the third.
Pittsburgh heavily favored to get that cut back, Steve Levy, and there's their record at on top in the Northeast Division.
You know, our guys, Jim Schoenfeld and Steve Levy, talked about goaltending at the start of our game, Gary, and really, the Pittsburgh Penguins have been riding good goaltending. The Montreal Canadiens get it all the time. And you look at the teams that have really done well so far, including the Flyers with Dominic Roussel. They have all had great goaltending, and the teams that have really struggled, you hate to put all the pressure and really all of the blame on one position, but by and large, anybody that's had any problem this season has not had good goaltending, and that's the way it goes.
That's another truism.
And the Panthers and Tampa Bay are examples of teams that have played well with good goaltending.
Yeah, they're right up there. Last time I looked here this afternoon, they were 7 and 12 in the league, respectively, in goals against. Penalty coming up, delayed call here. It's going to be on the Los Angeles Kings. They didn't need that. A power play coming up for the Washington Capitals with 3:28 left to go in the second period. Our Old Spice storyline. Randy Burridge has had the hat trick. What a great night for him out here. He got the last one on the power play. Afraidy a goal and an assist. Wayne Gretzky just one shot, has had an assist, however, and Yari Curry has picked up his third goal of the season, but it's the Capitals who are on top by a score of 5-2. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and L. Morgan.
Thanks, Gary. Well, Rob Blake tried to go with a sore hip, but it's not working out. His game's predicated so much on hitting, he can't do it. His team spokesman says Blake's gone for the night. Gary?
All right, and they'll hope that's not going to be long-standing. Yeah, the game we did for ESPN2 the other night, for those of you who may have seen it in Detroit, may have missed the story on that. Steve Yzerman took a real good shot from Thomas Steen, a good clean check. He went to the hospital, and the report today is he's got a herniated disc high up in the back. He's going to be out at least a month and maybe 6 weeks. What a devastating blow for the Detroit Red Wings and for the National Hockey League, for that matter.
I can tell you who he can call to get some advice on the injury. He's wearing number 99 out here.
Yep, and probably will. Pat Peake held it in. Peake, the rookie, 3 assists in this game. Afraidy drops it off. Power play for the Caps. Rudy got a piece of that one off the stick. Deflected into the corner. Cote knocked it down. They held it in. Sylvain Cote knocked away by Taylor. Cote getting set up at one of the points. They look down low. They've got Pavanka, Ridley, Peak. There's Peak. Peak the rookie to Cote. Cote, the shot deflected wide. They're getting it down low. Peter Bondra tried to tip that one, and that one's run to center. Peak coming on the near side. Peak being bothered by Taylor. The young and the old of it right there. Taylor broke it up. Good help by Peter Bondra as he came back to get it. Bondra trying to rush the puck. Poke checked away by Yari Curry. Iafrate picks it up. And the penalty coming up at center ice. And it'll be a holding call, and it'll be on the rookie as Pat Peak will make his way out, and that'll kill off the power play chance. Here at ESPN College Game Day tomorrow, it's football Saturday, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Greg James will start it out College Game Day. Then the college football doubleheader tomorrow. Following Game Day, the Big Ten football game, Iowa against number 25 Michigan State. And Game 2, the CFA primetime, number 22 Syracuse and number 6 Miami. That's all tomorrow on ESPN. College football kicked off with Game Day.
Well, I wonder if Wayne Gretzky's arguing to Lance Roberts did any good, because he certainly made this penalty look good. Remember, Wayne was given an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in the first period. And there are those that think that those types of penalties, you don't want to draw the penalty, but at least if you argue, sometimes you'll get a break a little later on in the game. In other words, that your argument will be heard, if not then later. Well, Wayne made that look pretty good, and Pete went off.
Hatcher and the save made again by Kelly Rudy.
I never thought that it worked. It never worked for me.
No, well, I think sometimes the big guys like Gretzky do get the advantage. I think you're right about that.
Coaches say that as well. There are some coaches that say, look, if you don't give them a hard time, and you won't keep them honest, and they'll just call penalties anytime they want on you. But if you give them a rough time, you let them know you're in the game, you'll kind of keep them honest.
Kelly Johansson shot kicked away again by Rudy. It's 4-on-4 right now. Cleared out of the zone by Huddy, but since it's 4-on-4, this will be an icing call. Touched up at the other end. Peak went out for the holding at 17-22. Gretzky has played 13-35 tonight. Has had one shot, has one assist.
And it was a beauty. And with no time in the Capital Zone, you don't notice Wayne Gretzky very much, but you give him time, and that little 170-pound frame does what it's done for so many years in the NHL since 1979 when he came in.
There you see the shots on goal in this game. Washington has the advantage there. Wayne Gretzky, who this season has picked up those 5 goals, closing in, of course, on the one record he does not have. Howe with 801 goals, and Gretzky 770.
You know, Gary, today Wayne said that, yeah, he'd like to get that record out of the way. I was talking to him before the game, and he said, can you imagine if the writers were following me around waiting for me to score that one goal to break Howe's record, and I was going through my 16-game slump last year, and he was just amused at the notion of all of the media people following him, waiting for that one goal when he was in that slump, but that situation didn't happen.
Tony Granato, who can rile up anything, he could get an empty bee's nest alive, is doing it down low again for the Kings. Chatting away in front of the net with Mike Ridley originally. If you had to name a #1 instigator in the National Hockey League, my vote goes to number 21 of the Kings, Tony Granato. One of the best, and I say this affirmatively, yappers that the game, I think, has ever had.
Well, Ty Domi's not far behind him.
Yeah.
Here's Kristich's shot. On the save, you'll see Granato come into the play right there. What? Sure, a little face mush from Mike Ridley.
He loves it. A little stick, a little glove. Still 4-on-4. Ridley the shot. Wide on Rudy. Zhitnik blocked it. Power play now. 50-second power play for the Washington Capitals. But the Kings have the puck. Kings have the power play. Goes behind the net. Beaupre hit Donnelly. 38 seconds remaining on Pat Peak's penalty. Say that 3 times and put it in a nursery rhyme. Cleared out by Poulin.
There's got to be room with Peter Piper someplace, doesn't there?
All the P's here are suddenly showing up in this game. 24 seconds left. Power play for the Kings. Gretzky ran into Donnelly, and they both fell down, and of course the fans applauded. Gretzky moves into the corner for it, sent it back to the point, can't be held in by Zhitnik. 1 minute, under a minute left to go here in the second period. Capitals leading it by a score of 5-2. Gretzky dropped it off. Power play here. McEachran left it. Carson couldn't get it. Zhitnik again going back to his own blue line, and that's it on the power play chance. So again, they do not convert, as it's 0 for 5 on the power play now for the Los Angeles Kings. And with 30.5 left, the Caps draw the break. The faceoff is going to come back in the Los Angeles end. Want to remind you, tonight at midnight Eastern and 9 Pacific, a boxing special coming up. You'll look at Michael Cabaral's present, past, and future. The show will examine the Olympian, the pro, and his future. Al Bernstein will be the host. That's tonight at midnight Eastern and 9 Pacific. Tom McNeely, our illustrious, well-known, highly touted producer, knows of these fighters because his dad was a heavyweight on the cover of Sports Illustrated in his day. And Tommy's built a whole lot like him.
Same nose and everything.
That's exactly right.
Hey, we love you, Tommy. Don't ever change, huh?
You don't have another operation, it won't work. Cleared around to the far side. Hatcher trying to hold it in there, Dars. You're looking at the time remaining to go here in the period. Shuchuk tried to center. Kelly Johansson was there. Johansson wide side. Far in. Mark Hardy back for it. Hardy got it out of the zone. They touch this up. They'll get another face-off. Johansson gets back there, and with 4.2 left to go, again a chance with a face-off coming back in the Kings' end during our second intermission. We'll take you back, Steve and Jim. We'll be bringing you up to date on the highlights of these other games going on, Rangers and Lightning, and right now a struggle for the Rangers. Sabres are struggling. Penguins trying to win there. And a look at Glenn Healy, the man we are seeing in net tonight for the Los Angeles Kings. That's all coming up. Oh, Glenn Healy, not Kelly Rudy. Oh, sorry about that. Gee, I want to give him some extra time there.
Starts with
My
an H.
apologies. Starts with an H,
Starts
but
with an H.
that's where it ends.
Ends with a Y.
It's all right. Taken back in the corner off the draw. They're just going to run the clock down here as Hatcher moved over, and maybe it's going to be a little more than that. Yeah. Mark Hardy in front of the net. Got into it with Bondra. I'm not sure if there'll be a penalty call. We're going to have to wait and see on that one. We've completed 2 periods. It's the Capitals 5 and the Kings 2. Steve Levy.
Gary Thorne, thanks very much. And we'll get back to those fine gentlemen out at the U.S. Air Center in Landover in just a little bit. We'll keep you posted, though, on what's happening elsewhere around the NHL, including the 4 other games. Gary mentioned some teams struggling. We'll show you some of those struggles, highlights, and much more coming up in this intermission. This is ESPN's coverage of the National Hockey League, National Hockey Night. Stay with us. And welcome back, everyone. Steve Levy back at our National Hockey Night studios. Get you up to date on what's going on around the National Hockey League. Our game after 2 periods play. Washington leads Philadelphia by a score of 5-2. Randy Burridge already has the hat trick. Islanders and Flyers already completed. They played an early start, 6:10 Eastern time at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The game switched from last night as to not conflict with the World Series. And Philly rough going early on. In the second period, Philly takes advantage. Eric Lindros, the one-timer, his 6th of the year, so Philly had a 1-0 lead. But the Islanders would strike back in the second. Uli Krupp, the slapper, beats Dominic Roussel, his 1st of the year. We were tied at 1. Joseph Beranek finds the loose puck in front. We're tied at 2. And then it would be Lindros again. Similar play, just from the other side, another one-timer past former Flyer Ron Hextall. And the Flyers go on for the 4-3 win. 5 of the 6 Philadelphia wins this year have come when they were trailing in the 3rd period. So the Flyers win. Islanders off to a 1-6 start. Penguins and Sabres going at it. You know how Buffalo has struggled. No score 1st period. Pass from Doug Brown around Randy Moeller to Martin Straka to Yager for the backhander. And what a backhander it was. 1-0 Pens. Yuri Himalev puts that one in to make it a 1-1 tie. Jaromir Jagr, watch this. He winds up inside the net again, but without the puck. That's because Ken Sutton shoved him in, but he would come back to the second. Brown to Jagr. Another backhander from a bad angle. Dominic Hasek can't stop that one. His 2nd goal of the night. 2-1 Pens. They have added another goal from Kevin Stevens, and now, in fact, it's 4-1 in favor of Pittsburgh over Buffalo as they play out the 3rd period. Boston and Edmonton, a late start, scoreless in the first. One news note there, Dave Manson injured during today's practice. He'll be out 3 to 5 weeks, a right separated shoulder. Well, when we come back, we'll take a look at Glenn Healy, the former New York Islander, now a New York Ranger, maybe taking away Mike Richter's #1 goaltending job. The Rangers in action and in trouble. That much more coming up. And the score of our game after 2 periods of play, Washington Capitals leading the Los Angeles Kings by a score of 5-2. Elsewhere, the New York Rangers visiting Tampa to take on the Lightning. Rangers coming off a loss at home to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Going up against the Lightning. 5.5 into the first. Bill McDougall skates in. Dishes to Mikhail Anderson. He beats Mike Richter 1-0 in favor of the Lightning. Still in the first. Sergei Nemchinov tries to clear. It's a bad one. Danton Cole intercepts. Puts it by Richter. Make it 2-0 Lightning. Still mounting pressure. Brian Leach, the stick to the nose of Bill McDougall, gets the boot. 5-minute major. Didn't need Mike Keenan to sit him down this time around. And with 10 seconds left in the period, Lightning still on the power play. Peter Klima shot it. Brian Badlett redirected it to beat Richter. 3-0 after 1. That's where they stand in the third. Had a Zamboni problem in Tampa, but still the Lightning leading the Rangers by a score of 3-0. In New York City, home of the Rangers, for a long time it was thought that when and if John Van Beesbrook gets traded out of town, well, the #1 goaltending job would be handed over to Mike Richter. Well, it was, but 8 games into the season, it appears that Richter is handing it over to Glenn Healy. Healy making the adjustment from hated Islander to beloved Ranger.
Glenn Healy, playoff hero of a year ago for the New York Islanders, has found himself still in New York, but in a different uniform, a Rangers uniform. That after being bounced around by 4 organizations in 48 hours, early on he's been the Rangers' best.
They were our #1 rival, and if there was anyone that we prepared to play most for, it was the Rangers. And to find myself after the season we had last year playing for the #1 rival, it's overwhelming at times.
Ranger fans are finding it overwhelming as well. It's going to take a little getting used to. Glenn Healy, a Ranger.
Well, right now, you know, the fans still think I'm an Islander, so I get a few boos every now and then. We've hurt the team a little bit when I was with the Islanders, and they haven't forgiven me yet. So, you know, it's tough for me because I go back to the island and I get booed. I go to the Rangers because I was an Islander and I get booed, and I'm booed in Pittsburgh and I'm booed in Washington.
Well, the way Healy performed in the playoffs last year is reason enough for the Washington and Pittsburgh fans not to welcome him into their hearts. Healy's play was superb in the Islanders' surprising run to the Stanley Cup semifinals.
Timing was perfect for us. We were a team that worked together all year and got better as the year went on and peaked just at the right time. And I think when you believe in something like we did, you can accomplish a lot.
Beating the Capitals was one thing, but then to face the Pittsburgh Penguins, 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs, it seemed the only people who believed they had a chance were the Islanders.
Everyone from who knows who said there's no way these guys are going to win this series. And again, when you put your mind to something and 20 guys believe that they can do it, we set out to show the world that we are a team that had to be reckoned with, and we beat, at that time, the best team in hockey.
It was to be a short run. In the next round, the Isles fell to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Healy is looking forward to this year with his new team, the New York Rangers. Although at the start, considered to be the backup goalie, all Glenn Healy wants to do is win.
I don't look at myself as a backup goaltender, and neither does Mike Richter. And I think this hockey club has to kind of put all that stuff aside, whether you're #1, #2, #1 center, #2 center, and just win hockey games. And, you know, there's 84 games in the season. There's hopefully 28 in the playoffs. And that's a lot of hockey for one goaltender or even 2 goaltenders to play. I'm just going to go out and have fun and hopefully get us a lot of wins and maybe a Stanley Cup.
Glenn Healy, one of the real good goaltenders around the league, one of the best interviews in the league as well. Jim Schoenfeld joins me back in the studio. What's going on in New York with Coach Mike Keenan? First of all, Mike Richter in goal at home. They lose to Anaheim. Instead of coming back with Healy, we just saw he comes back with Richter. We've already seen him bench a number of stars, including Brian Leach, although not tonight because of the stick foul. What's Mike Keenan's take early on?
Well, you know that Mike likes to do things one way, and that's his way. And the thing with Leach is simply a matter of Mike flexing his muscles. Now, to take Brian Leach and limit his ice time is certainly going to hurt Brian a little bit, but to keep him off the power play hurts the entire Ranger team. So you have a situation, I think, where Mike is trying to motivate the entire team through his tactics with Brian Leach. Personally, I think if you're going to inspire a team, you're better to do it through respect than through fear.
Leach has said he understands the benching, but he also added he doesn't think it's helping him. Our game right now, Los Angeles Kings being surprised a bit by the Washington Capitals in Landover. Wayne Gretzky, great feed to Rob Blake, who snuck in from the point, but after 2, it's not enough. 5-2, Washington leads Los Angeles after 2. Well, we had 5 games this past week, capping it off tonight. 5 more for you on ESPN and ESPN2 next week, starting Monday on ESPN2. Dallas at Detroit. No Yzerman, but Fedorov fills in very nicely. On National Hockey Night Tuesday night, Philadelphia at Quebec. Another warm welcome in Quebec City, I'm sure, for Eric Lindros. Wednesday night on ESPN2, LA at Detroit. Next Thursday, Quebec and Pittsburgh. Mario Lemieux scheduled to play. And the Friday night, Gretzky and Solani, Los Angeles at Winnipeg. Third period next.
ESPN's National Hockey Night is brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. And by Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old. Get into the cold.
Welcome back, everybody. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and Al Morganti here at Landover, Maryland. The Washington Capitals looking for a victory here at home where they are 1-2. Los Angeles on the road 1-0-1, but they are down as the Caps have a 5-2 lead.
Thanks to Randy Burridge. It's been the Randy Burridge show. He's picked up a hat trick in this hockey game. On this play, Wayne Gretzky kind of missed his assignment. Rookie Pat Peake went around him, and look at Burridge's second effort. But keep in mind, the Capitals are getting some bounces. This puck came right out to Randy Burridge. I can bet you as much as you want to bet that in the first week or 10 days of the season, this puck would not have come to Randy Burridge. The Capitals had no breaks then. But boy, they're working hard and making a lot of their own breaks in this one.
Burridge with a hat trick, third of his career, getting that one. 5-2, our Miller Genuine Draft scoring summary. Here you go. Burridge's second from Provoca and Peake made it 1-0. They went up 2-0 in the game. Burridge has picked up the third of the season, 6:45. Peake and Iafrate. Al Iafrate at 9:06. This was the power play goal unassisted, his third. Yari Curry got Los Angeles on the board. Robitaille and Hardy. 2:32 of the second period, followed up Blake's third. Gretzky and Sandstrom at 4:45. Burridge got his fourth. The trick, 10:29 of the second. Peake and Bondra on the power play, and Kristich at 13:23. Ridley the only assists on that to make it a 5-2 game.
Randy Burridge's other 2 hat tricks came within a month of one another. Back in 1989 when he was a member of the Bruins, and one of those happened to be against the Kings. So career now he has 2 hat tricks against LA.
Hardy and Bondra picked up roughing calls at the 20-minute mark in that melee in front of the net. We're going to get another call right here. So we start the period 4-on-4, and Lance Roberts immediately 12 seconds in has called a holding here on the Caps. It's going to be Kelly Miller who's going to go to the penalty box. A 4-on-3 power play now coming up for the Los Angeles Kings.
Well, Lance Roberts certainly has had the X-ray vision working for the stick hold. This is stick hold again. That's his third stick hold that he has called in this game.
Some referees, as in all sports, will call certain penalties more than others, and Roberts clearly watches for that stick hold. Another story developing in the National Hockey League, of course, the officials do not have a contract. And November 15, the middle of next month, is the deadline that the 2 sides have agreed to, and the officials have said they will walk if that contract is not done by then.
There's Miller, number 10. You can see that he doesn't have Sandstrom's stick at all. It's Sandstrom that actually is hooking Miller back, so that's why he was unhappy. But at the same time, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has said the games will be played with or without the current officials. We will bring in replacement officials, so lines have been drawn.
Power play, Kings have not converted. 0 for 5. Yari Curry drops it off. Shot Gretzky. He missed it on the short side. It is a 4-on-3 power play. Yari Curry goes back to the point. Sador's there. Sador's shot wide. Gretzky shot. Score! Power play goal. Wayne Gretzky. And it is a 5-3 Washington lead.
Wayne Gretzky has 1 shot on goal coming into this period. He shot wide on 1 attempt, but he was in the perfect spot to pick up Daryl Sador's shot that went wide. Beaupre had no chance at all. He was reaching up with his stick. Beaupre's only chance here was if Gretzky happens to hit his stick. Right off the boards, down low off the kick plate where it's really nice and live, and it came out flat to Gretzky. That's one of the keys. See how flat that was, Gary? It came out off the yellow kick plate around the bottom, perfectly flat. Had it been bouncing, Wayne would have had to take his time, settle it down, and then shoot it, but he just popped it because it was flat.
771 career goals, his 6th of the year. He's had 2 shots in this game. He's picked up a goal and an assist now, and the Kings are clearly within striking distance. They've got a whole period left. We're back to a 4-on-4 setting now. Minute 7 left on the matching minors. a 5-3 Capitals lead. From behind their own net, Johansson goes wide side. Gretzky, his 6th of the season on the power play. Sador and Curry at 37 seconds. At center, the Caps regroup. Kelly Johansson cleared it ahead, near side for Kristich. Kristich couldn't reach for it, played by Sador. Sador drops it off. Remember, Rob Blake is out of the game, the defenseman who gets a lot of ice time. Gretzky in the middle. Gretzky had a spin with it, didn't have help down low. Robitaille joins the play. Into the center ice area, Hatcher on the deflection. Blake's got a bruised hip, went out once, came back, tried to skate, couldn't do it, left again, and Blake out of the game.
That pretty well means that all 5 defensemen left for the LA Kings will have to play with one another. Obviously, when you got 6 guys, you got 3 pair of defensemen. You got 5, especially when 3 of them are 34-year-olds. You got to pace them a little bit, and that means that everybody plays with everybody. So brand new pairings all the time for the Kings.
Every time out, Kelly Miller sends it in. Played behind the net by Kelly Rudy. It'll be started out by Tim Waters. He'll get more ice time here in the 3rd period than he would have otherwise. Zhitnik's out there with him right now. Cleared into the corner. Miller tied up. Curry tried to take him down. Didn't. It's the only reason he didn't get the penalty. Yari Curry. Fans wanted to call. Don't get it. Zhitnik was able to clear it out of the zone. Robitaille near side. Cote going after it. Beaupre decides to play it around Robitaille. Poulin will move up. Dave Poulin goes to center. Didn't get it out of the zone. Shuchuk able to hold it in. Lost it. Poulin starts it up ice again. This is going to be an icing call. No, because Washington is going to get there first. No, they did not. Battle along the board. Sador did a nice job holding off Peter Bondra.
Kelly Rudy has to hang tough here now in the 3rd period so his guys can get back into it. Interesting way of staying in shape in the offseason. He loves mountain biking, and he does a lot of what is called scrambling. He had to explain that to me today. It's a form of mountain climbing, but instead of taking the most difficult way up the mountain, very often you just take the easiest way up. You still have to get from the bottom to the top, and you have to have a technical understanding of mountain climbing, but he mountain climbs with his brother, Ken, and he climbs mountains as well. You know, a big thrill this summer for Kelly Rudy. His 4-year-old and 7-year-old daughters, his 2 daughters, and he has a younger one, 8 months old. The 2 little ones climbed a mountain. The elevation was 1/3 of a mile, so it was a pretty good climb, and he was thrilled.
That's a good hike.
Yep.
Randy Burridge has already got the hat trick, brings it in. Drops it off in the corner. Bondra, Burridge in the middle. Bondra, Burridge, and Peak. Peak tried to get a stick on it and could not. McEachran brings it up the other way, Sean McEachran. He gets stood up by Hatcher, and it'll be covered up by Beaupre, and he just hangs on, and then a hit behind the play, and a penalty's going to be called.
Yes, sir, and Brian Curran is going to go. Now, I don't know if Roberts is taking Shuchuk as well, but Gary Shuchuk tried to suck him into a penalty, and it looked like it worked. Here is Brian Curran, his first game this season in the NHL, and Shuchuk just went down and bailed, and I think Curran's the guy that's going to go.
Gets his 3rd penalty of the night. He is out of there for 2 minutes and a power play for the Kings. They have converted on the power play once. 1-4-6. This is their 7th chance and a chance to make this a 1-goal game. Zhitnik brings it up for the Kings. Dumped it in by Hatcher. Johansson back to get it. Cleared it up. It'll end up in the seats, and the face-off will stay in the Capitals' end.
The Kings won't be able to do much on their power play if they... I don't know what Alex Zhitnik was thinking on that rush. He came to center, and everybody looked like they were backing up on the play, and he dumped it into a corner, and nobody was really going for it.
Los Angeles Kings came in with the 2nd-best power play on the season, young season, albeit. Barry Melrose, always quiet demeanor behind the bench. But the heart goes up 200 miles an hour when he's over there. Gretzky had that one tipped away. They want to redraw again. Poulin taking the face-off against him that time. The King, though, had violated the face-off circle, so Robitaille will move in against Poulin. Jay Scherers on the near side. Brian Murphy ready to drop the puck, the linesman, and Robitaille has got to put the stick down first of the visiting team. He won't do it. Now does. We finally get the face-off. And it's cleared out of the zone. Nice work by Poulin. Kelly Rudy back at the other end hanging on. We're 4 minutes into this 3rd period. Here in Landover, Maryland. The Capitals up 5-3. The Kings, though, continue to battle back. We're down 3-0 in that 1st period. Comes back to the point. Sador able to hold it in. Gretzky behind the net. Gretzky centered it, deflected to Miller. Miller drops it off short-handed. Kings are back, however. Jitnik, Sador, Sandstrom all there, so Poulin just runs it into the zone. Kelly Rudy holds it up. 1:08 left on the power play chance. Near side for Jitnik. Jitnik, Robitaille, Sandstrom, Sador. Jitnik takes it all the way in. Jitnik, the young defenseman, back to Sador. Sador from the point. The shot deflected. Save made. Beaupre. Sandstrom got a piece of that. Gretzky couldn't handle it behind the net. Jitnik again on the far side. He's all over the place. Back for Gretzky. Gretzky 1-1 on the night. Intended for Sandstrom. Comes to Sador. The shot. Gretzky. Gretzky lost it to Iafrate. Iafrate's been out there when Gretzky's been out there. Kelly Rudy at the other end. 36 seconds left on the power play for Los Angeles. Jitnik again starting it up ice. Donnelly out. Donnelly moves in with Granato. Donnelly for Granato off the boards. Babanka with him. Set around. Kelly Johansson intercepts. Up and out. And down to 17 on the power play. They'll get one more rush on it here. They've got time. Jari Kurri, who has the goal, couldn't handle the pass. Intercepted Connor Walchuk. Todd Krieger, short-handed, was blocked. Deep rebound. Donnelly starts. Power play's over. We're back to even strength. Donnelly moving in. Tried to get it to Jari Kurri. Good job, Cote. Cote broke it up. Here's a 3-on-2 chance. Brought in Curran, dropped it offside Krieger, and Krieger shaking his head saying, no, I wasn't. Linesman said, yes, you were. Steve Levy.
Gary, thanks. In Edmonton, scoreless in the first period, the Bruins and the Oilers. Josef Stumpel, takes the carom off the backboard. One-handed pass, a neat one to Brent Hughes, who beats Bill Ranford. So the Bruins draw first blood up 1-0 after one.
Bruins 2-2-3 on the season. Going into that game, 3 ties already picked up by them, while Edmonton 2-5-1. Warren Reichel. A couple of kids right there. Connor Walchuk, 20 years old. Third game he's played this year since being called back up.
And Terry Murray is hoping that Connor Walchuk can score at this level. He was a big scorer in junior. He scored at the American League, but he's been up a couple of times, including last year. And he hasn't started to produce yet at this level.
14:48 left in the third. Mark Hardy got it out of the zone. This will be an icing call. John Anderson goes back and touches it up for the Washington Capitals. Great to have you with us here at ESPN's National Hockey Night. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, Elmore Gandy joining you here next week on ESPN. We'll be in Quebec on Tuesday night. And we'll have Eric Lindros going back to Quebec to take on the Nordiques, who've had a surprising struggle here at the beginning of the season. The goaltending hasn't been that good. We'll have a chance to see what folks are saying about that next Tuesday. What's happening there? We hope you'll join us. Coming up, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, Tuesday night, ESPN's National Hockey Night from the Colisée in Quebec with the Flyers there. Off the face-off, Connor Walchuk won it. Caps trying to get this lead back up to 3. Wraparound shot, Anderson. Save made, Kelly Rudy. Connor Walchuk. John Anderson, the defenseman, all the way around that time. Waters can't pin it up. Save made, Rudy. Rebound shot deflected wide, Jones. Good effort by Berube the first time as he came out around the net, created the opportunity. It's a real muck-a-muck line right there for the Washington Capitals. Berube, Jones, and Connor Walchuk. Hard, grinding line, and Pat Conacher knocks it away at center. Waters gets the red line, sends it in. And got hit by Berube for his effort. Waters and Berube separate behind the play, however. Connor Walchuk moving in behind the net for the Caps, trying to dig it out. Taylor was there. Connor Walchuk got it. Connor Walchuk, Berube in the middle. Caps ready for a line change. Cote. Sylvain Cote drops it. They change. Cote gets it back. Cote looking. Bondra cutting. A little too far behind him in the pass. Bondra sent it in. He had the rookie on the far side, Pat Peake, open. Back to center, Iafrate. Now Iafrate's picked up a goal tonight, also has an assist. Caps changing. They just got the man back to the bench that time. Pat Peake moves it in. Peake down the middle. Peake spun around. Penalty coming up. Hardy hooked him, and Peake able to pick that penalty up. Will give the Washington Capitals another power play chance. The Capitals leading the Kings by 2. Hardy is out of there, 6:39 on the hooking. 5-3, Washington leading it here. Take a look at the other scores going on in the National Hockey League. That's a final, an early start game. Philadelphia winning. Pittsburgh has taken their 4-2 victory over Buffalo. Tampa Bay still up by 3, where it's been most of the game. Boston in Edmonton. Power play opportunity here for the Washington Capitals. Bondra gets it along the boards. Cleared up and out of the zone, Charlie Huddy, but it deflects and ends up in the seats.
Maybe the Rangers just aren't used to good ice. Sean McEachran of the Kings told me that the ice at the Thunderdome, where the Tampa Bay Lightning play, the best ice in the NHL, the best that he's seen in his couple of years in the NHL. And the New York Rangers in Madison Square typically have terrible, terrible ice. And for that matter, the guys here at the Cap Center don't have very good ice to skate on either. That's the consensus of the players. Most of the players will talk freely about the conditions of different ice surfaces around the league. They don't rate New York very high. They don't rate this ice. And, you know, even in the first period here, Gary, I didn't have a chance to mention it, but I noticed the puck bouncing all over the place, it seemed, in the first period.
Both those buildings used for a lot of other things. As soon as this game is done, I mean literally as soon as it's done, the ice is coming up here. They've got a big horseshoe moving in here tomorrow. So they take the ice up entirely. And when that happens a lot, you just don't ever have the ice sitting long enough to be good ice. Bondra takes it into the corner. Caps on the power play. Iafrate drops it. Shot. Cote. Good save. Kelly Rudy and Cote got all of that one. Cote. Granato along the boards. Mike Donnelly's got it. Donnelly brings it a minute left on the power play for the Caps. Played behind the net. Los Angeles last season, the second most power play chances and the second most time shorthanded. So their specialty teams get a lot of work. Offside. Randy Burridge, 53 left on the power play. First, Steve Levy.
All right, Gareth, thanks. In Tampa, the Lightning up 3-1 over the Rangers in the third. Chris Gratton, the shorthanded goal, blows it by Mike Richter. That's a bad goal, folks. 4-1 Tampa.
Except if you're Tampa, Steve, and then they say, wow, is that a great goal?
I didn't know Steve was an ex-goalie. Gosh.
5-3 here. Capitals leading the Kings. Great to have you with us on ESPN's National Hockey Night. The Caps showing the offensive, explosive kind of power they have here in this game tonight. Washington last year finished 10th in scoring, 10th in defense. Their record, 43, 34, and 7, when all was said and done. But they went to the playoffs and lost the first round to the New York Islanders in 6.
And that's all everybody remembers.
Rudy for Gretzky. He knocked it down, couldn't do anything with it. Kristich has got it. 23 left on the power play. Shorthanded, Gretzky. Gretzky drops it back again. Gary Curry, again looking for help, sends it to the corner. Johansson was there. Power play's underway here for the Caps, but the Kings have had a couple of short-handed chances. Near side, Ridley. Ridley's wide open, won't take it, does. Save made. Rudy, rebound right over Pavelka. And the penalty's over, back to even strength. Gretzky up ice again, Iafrate. They've had a long and continuing relationship in this game, Iafrate and Gretzky. Gretzky leaving the ice, Iafrate charging. Iafrate all alone, literally. Iafrate! Shot was blocked from behind, but boy, did he make a rush of it. Yeehaw! All the way down, they were changing up. There was nobody else on the ice wearing a white jersey.
Well, you got to like Al Iafrate because most times he's on the edge.
He doesn't mind.
No, he loves it.
Keith Jones, Connor Walchuk. Berube. Berube got it knocked away. Connor Walchuk battle in the corner. Robitaille drops it. Conacher coming. Near side, Robitaille. Robitaille to Conacher. Conacher broken up by Sean Anderson. Back to the point, Connor Walchuk. Let's race it up the other way. Berube from the blue line. Rudy with a blocker save. Rebound, Žitnik. Žitnik, Berube all over him. Berube's played a tough game. Took it away, Connor Walchuk. Connor Walchuk hit from behind by Žitnik. Žitnik, Connor Walchuk. Puck freed up near side. Berube giving chase again. Berube a long shift. He's still got the legs going out there. Žitnik and Connor Walchuk. Žitnik up along the boards, just trying to get it out. Chuchuk finally does. Zone was cleared. Chuchuk back in his own end. We're halfway through the third. Capitals 5 and the Kings 3. Chuchuk shot. Never went anywhere. Blue line shot. Deflected. Kristich knocked it away into the corner off Mark Hardy's shot from the blue line. Hardy working on defense with Sador now. As Bill said, they continue to just jumble it up here. 5 defensemen left with Blake out of the game with that bruised hip. Sador gets the red line and sends it in. 9:39 remaining to go. Shots are 32-24 in favor of the Caps, who lead it by 2. Trying to increase it. Londra, shot, Rudy, save. Poulin went by, fell down, and couldn't tip it in. Puck was just sitting there for him. But he'd gone by it too far to get any leverage. Sador will start it up. Both teams changing it up on the fly. Waters back at his own blue line. Poulin moved up on him. Got taken out of the play, but he did get the puck. Kristich moves in. Waters has it underneath the skate. Kristich took it away. Kelly Miller comes to the near side. Miller brings it in by Carson. Sador again. Sador logging the ice time here since Blake's been out. Sador still has it against the boards. Taken away by Miller. Miller works it in. Backhand shot. Rudy the save. Kings just batted out of the zone. They say Hatcher could have got it, so they wave off the icing. Beaupre knocked down by Thomas Sandstrom. Taken away by Hatcher finally. Hatcher sent it out. No icing on this either. Shitnik back to get it. 8:30 left to go. Washington on top by 2. They've led throughout. Had a 3-0 lead early on in the first. Look out.
Man.
Saw that one coming at center ice. Pabanka was just waiting at center, but he looked as though he may have caught a piece of Donnelly there that dazed him for a minute. Other end, Ridley lost it to Shitnik. Can't get it by Pabanka. Pabanka set it up. Tipped. Knocked away. Krieger wrapped around. Hit the side of the net. Cote, the shot blocked by Gretzky. Goes deep. Krieger's got it again. Krieger in the corner. Krieger, Ridley, shot outside of the net. Wayne Gretzky, far side, wants to clear and does, just icing it. Cap fans appreciating the effort, applauding. Cote's got it. They wave off the icing. Both teams change on the fly. Iafrate in. Iafrate to Krieger between the legs, and that pass Granato. Over to Robitaille. Robitaille moves in on Cote. Kristich can't get it. Beaupre knocked it away. Down goes Kristich. Kristich getting up, kicks it along the boards. Robitaille moves to hold it in. Robitaille to the point. Shot deflected wide. Hit off the defenseman's stick. Al Iafrate that time. Granato got nailed by Cote. Got it to Robitaille. Iafrate pickpockets it away. Iafrate up and out. Hardy. He's going to have to play it. Mark Hardy going back to get it. 7:12 left to go. Sent in by Sador. Curran back out on the ice. Granato took a shot at him and missed. At center, Sador. Sador lost it. Pabanka saved by Rudy. Peter Bondra all by himself. Kelly Rudy the save. Remember that one.
You know, Bondra's move was so good, I think he deked himself out. He never did get the shot away.
Great chance. Can the Kings take advantage of it? Conacher centering. Nobody's got it to the point. Shitnik deflected wide by Beaupre. End to end. We've gone through about 4 line changes here without a whistle. Waters has it. Picked up by Conacher. Capitals up by 2. Conacher in. Reichel trailing. Couldn't get it to him. Bondra again. Drops it off Burridge. 2-on-2. Burridge with Connor Walchuk. Jitnik's pass taken finally by Reichel. Reichel taken out of the play by Burridge. Kings changing far side. Conacher can't handle that. Frenzied pace now. Jitnik in. 6 minutes to go, 3rd period. Anderson back for the Caps. Berube can't get it by Gretzky. Gretzky goes down as Berube dumped him. Here's a 3-on-2 for the Caps. Berube on the left wing side. Cote open. Cote! Save! And Rudy got run into. Puck loose. Rudy can't get it. Shot. Save! Rudy had a defenseman behind him who blocked the shot. Donnelly starts it up ice. Played into the corner by Beaupre. That was behind Kelly Rudy. Sandstrom tried to center. On the far side, Charlie Huddy. Huddy ships it in. Deflected. Covered by Beaupre. 5:28 left. Stand up and applaud it.
Because Peter Bondra had a breakaway. He intercepted a pass from Daryl Sador. He tried the move, but I still don't think he really got his shot away. And this is some of the action in front of Kelly Rudy. It was Keith Jones that sideswiped him, and Rudy was just like a turnstile spinning around. Charlie Huddy is the guy that made the stop really behind him.
That was a save. I think Huddy should be given credit for on that.
Go ahead.
It was headed for the net.
He's got a save percentage of 1,000.
Gretzky back out on the ice. The Kings trying to get this to a 1-goal game. Shot save made on the wraparound. Sandstrom and covered by Beaupre.
The Kings are really upset with referee Lance Roberts, especially Mike Donnelly. That's the second time he had been dragged down in front of Don Beaupre. And by Donnelly's thinking, right in front of Lance Roberts as well. I don't don't think anybody still picks up the puck off the boards as well as Wayne Gretzky in this game. You can fire it around as hard as you want, and he'll get it somehow. To Sandstrom, and Johansson did a nice job of moving him out.
Thomas Sandstrom, the straw that stirs. What a difference when he's playing and when he isn't, both for Gretzky and everybody else. Gretzky gets chased because one of the Kings violated that face-off circle, and he certainly wasn't happy about that. Gretzky back in the corner. Kelly Johansson, you think that guy still hasn't got the fire in his eye about winning? Sador got hit by Kelly Miller along the boards. They battled. Ridley reaching in for it. Everybody down on the ice. Finally cleared out by Pivonka. Swept it out of the zone. Charlie Huddy back to get it. Time running out on the Kings. 4:45. The lead is just 2 for the Caps. This will be an icing call. Hatcher back on the touch-up. They've shared a lot of comments today. He always says when this game's no fun, 1, and when I can't be competitive, 2, don't have the fire, I'll leave. No reason to leave.
Well, it may not have been fun tonight, but he sure got the competitive fire, and if nothing else, referee Lance Roberts has kept it alive. I think very often that keeps certain players in it. It becomes sort of a common denominator or a rallying cry for a team if they don't think they're getting any calls going their way.
Jitnick got hauled down. They didn't think they got that one either on that play. Comes to center. Here comes Peak again. Pat Peak moving it in. Drops it back to Peak. Peak! Couldn't get it around. Kelly Rudy. Rudy held his ground and got it with the left pad. 5-3 game. The Capitals up by 2.
But you can see why Pat Peak has been a huge scorer in junior hockey. Boy, what a nice move he tried on Kelly Rudy.
He just wouldn't go for it. Our Visa storyline, Gretzky a goal and an assist tonight. Burridge has picked up the hat trick, 3rd of his career. Last win at Washington for the Kings came in 1990 on January 1. They lost here last year. Lost against Washington out west too.
Here's Peak's chance. He dishes off to Burridge and goes from there. Look at Peak. He just tries to redirect it to the forehand, but it just wasn't enough. Last year, playing for Detroit in the Ontario Hockey League, number 14 for the Capitals, in 46 games had 58 goals, 78 assists, and that's why, Gary, as you mentioned earlier, he was voted the outstanding junior player in Canada. Detroit is in the Canadian League.
Jari Kurri! What a save! Rebound! No! Tony Granato the rebound on Jari Kurri's first shot, and Don Beaupre came up big both times. Huddy behind his own net. Kurri, Robitaille, and Granato. Jari Kurri leaves it at the point. Huddy's shot deflected, did not get in on goal. Cote blocked it, and Kristich clears it out. 3:30 remaining. This game, though, fire from over. Gretzky has picked up a power play goal, the only goal that's come in this period to make it a 5-3 lead. Touched up, that will be an icing call. Burridge the hat trick, I.F. Brady, Kristich have all scored for the Washington Capitals.
You know, Gary, you mentioned how much better the Kings are with Tomas Sandstrom in the lineup. Believe it or not, in spite of the fact that Wayne Gretzky is leading the NHL in scoring, Tomas Sandstrom only has 3 goals, and Wayne Gretzky has set him up at least a half dozen other times for just about sure bet goals. Sandstrom has had many chances that he has missed. Wayne Gretzky could be leading the league by more. Here's Kurri's chance on Don Beaupre.
Granato just ran out of room on the rebound. No room to pick the puck up here. The Kings putting on a furious charge. Gretzky back out on the ice. Gretzky is logged at 21 minutes and 45 seconds in this game. 2 shots on goal, and a goal and an assist to show for it. That one, Kelly Rudy's got to play himself up, but not out. Kelly Miller. Miller dropped it back. We haven't heard much from Luc Robitaille, the player tied for 4th in scoring in the league coming into this game with 5 goals, 8 assists. Not been a factor thus far. Want to keep an eye on him here in the final minutes of this 3rd period. Kings still in their own end. 2:48 remaining to go in the 3rd period. Donnelly starts it out. The Caps putting heat on. They're coming all the way up here to center ice. Sandstrom moves it in. Sandstrom, the shot. Save made by Beaupre. This is Beaupre's 3rd strong game of the season. He's played here tonight. Gretzky trying to center. Not quite. He had Beaupre out of the net. Tried to hustle it back to the middle. Sandstrom dropped it off. Donnelly held on to that a while. Got away with it. Cleared out by Pivonka. The far end, Mark Hardy's got it. Hardy drops it off. Both teams change it up on the fly. Shots are now 38-29 in favor of Washington. 2:11 left to go. Caps, Krieger drops it in the middle. Back to get it, Hardy. Still, the Kings in their zone. Priestich forcing the play. Sandstrom gets it away to Gretzky. Gretzky to Robitaille. Robitaille moving in. Robitaille saved, but Beaupre decides to play it to Iafrate. Now Iafrate up, where the fans have had their money's worth in this game.
Well, yeah.
And how many Kings have pulled their goaltender with 1:45 left to go?
Gosh, they did that so well. I didn't even notice he was gone. I just noticed 6 skaters on the ice.
Yep. Empty net at the other end. So the Kings going all out. Priestich sends it up ice. This will be an icing call. Sador touches it up. 1:29 to go with 1:40 plus left. They pulled Kelly Rudy.
We should have known to be watching with Barry Melrose behind the bench. Always aggressive. And now they get the face-off down in Don Beaupre's end.
There you see the finals with Pittsburgh beating Buffalo in that game. Tampa Bay has beaten the New York Rangers. So an expansion team and a near expansion team.
And you know, the LA Kings, Barry Melrose goes to New York to take on both the Rangers and the Islanders. Now that might have looked like some tough sledding when the season started, but both the Islanders and the Rangers now have sputtered pretty severely.
Longest road trip of the season underway right now for these Los Angeles Kings. 12-day trip, 7 games to be played. Empty net for the Kings. Extra skater. They've already used their timeout. They used that in the first period after they went down 3-0.
And they're without their real classic big gunner on the point too, Rob Blake, who they would love to have right now. He left this hockey game in the second period with a hip and has not been able to return.
We're going to have a firing finish. Caps will be going for that empty net to try and ice the game. Ridley will take the face-off against Yari Curry. Two very good drawmen in the National Hockey League and always have been. Off the face-off, Curry tried to run it in on net, couldn't. Caps clear. Sador goes back to get it, and that's a good clear. What the Caps don't want to do is keep icing the puck and giving the Kings face-offs. Blocked by Miller. Curry back to Sador. Sador. Extra skater for the Kings. 1:10 to go in the game. Sador again. Caps forcing the play. That's Ridley up ice. They're going after the puck. The Caps are. Zhitnik flips it. Iafrate knocked it down. Bats it up. 1 minute left to go in the game. 1 minute left. 5-3. Caps leading the Kings. Gretzky on the ice. Goes to the corner from Granato. Iafrate right there with him. Batted it away. Zhitnik at the point. The shot deflected. Shot Robitaille. Shot Granato. None of them got in. Gretzky. Curry missed it. Yari Curry missed the wide side post. He was set up by Gretzky. Iafrate. Yari Curry holds it in again. Centered for Robitaille. Gretzky working behind the net to Curry. Yari Curry to the point. Zhitnik. His shot deflected out deep by Robitaille. Cleared out. Kelly Miller. Put it away. Can he? Yes!
Capitals played with poise. And it's much easier to play with poise when you're nursing a 2-goal lead when the other team pulls their goalie. So the Capitals never panicked. Finally, Mike Ridley, the man you're looking at, banked it off the boards, and Kelly Miller finished it off. And that finishes it off for the Kings, 6-3 now.
Kelly Miller gets the goal. His second, 1936, came from Ridley. And the Washington Capitals have a 6-3 lead. They are going to win this game. The Caps will go 2-6. The Kings 5-2-1. First loss for the Kings since the opening game, and the Caps have won 2 in a row. Beaupre gets the victory. He's now 2-3. Kelly Rudy the loser. He is 4-2-1. And if you like action, Bill Clement, they were flying.
Yeah, no question about it. And really, the Washington Capitals showed signs of playing as poorly as they did in the first few games of the season. But they were short signs. By and large, the Capitals played an inspired game, a very sound game, and especially a very patient game, killing penalties. They look like a good hockey team, and they are one.
For El Morganti, Bill Clement, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Caps over the Kings, 6-3. Steve.
Gary, thanks. Another fine job by you gentlemen out there in Landover. We'll talk to you again on our next edition of National Hockey Night coming up next Tuesday night. Washington over Los Angeles 6-3. Randy Burridge with half of the Capital offense with the hat trick, his third hat trick in his career, first as a Washington Capital. 4 other games to tell you about in the National Hockey League. Highlights and scores of all of them are coming up on the post-game show. This is ESPN's National Hockey Night. And welcome back, everyone, to our National Hockey Night studios. I'm Steve Levy, rounding out the hour. Get you caught up today. Everything happened tonight in the National Hockey League. The game we had for you, Washington over Los Angeles, 6-3. So the Capitals, after dropping the first 6, have won 2 in a row. L.A. was unbeaten in their last 7. That streak, of course, snaps Randy Burridge the hat trick there. Islanders and the Flyers played at the Spectrum in Philadelphia as Philadelphia fans turn their attention on hockey for at least one night. Highlights of this one from the Spectrum across from where the Flyers play. Marty McGuinness popped in the rebound there to make it 2-1 Islanders, that in the second period. But the Flyers would come right back. Joseph Baranek scores from Hawgood and Brindamore. At 2-2, that would tie the score. Eric Lindros had scored earlier. Here, he takes the one-timer. So fast you can barely see it. 3-2, Philadelphia. They go on for the 4-3 victory. Roussel had 23 stops. Lindros a pair. Hextall is 1-5 on the year. Isles 1-6. Rangers in Tampa, Florida. Highlights of this one. Danton Cole is third of the year off the bad giveaway by Sergei Nemchinov. It's an unassisted goal, gave the Lightning a 2-0 lead. Brian Bradley gets his third of the year off the deflection in front. Actually went in off Kevin Lowe's skate. That would make it 3-0 Tampa. Still in the first. Pick it up in the third period. It was 3-1 Rangers. Chris Gratton, the top draft pick, a short-handed blast from Bergevin. That would make it 4-1. That would be your final. Rangers lead the league in most short-handed goals allowed. That's 9. Rangers have now lost to Anaheim and Tampa consecutively. Pittsburgh and Buffalo. The Sabres slumping. Jaromir Jagr, this would be his second of the game. 2 terrific backhand goals. That would make it 2-1 in favor of the Pens. Kevin Stevens starting to get back on the streak. Starting to pick up his play a little bit. From Ron Francis and Rick Tocchet to make it 3-1 there off the scramble. The Penguins go on for the 4-2 victory. Jagr had 2 goals, 1 assist. 7 straight losses, ties a team record for the Buffalo Sabres. The late start for you, Boston at Edmonton. They're now playing the second, but here in the first, Josef Stumpel plays the carom off the backboard, one-handed pass to Brent Hughes to make it 1-0. They have just scored. Steve Leach has scored in the second. So now your score, the Bruins over Edmonton by a score of 2-0. Jim Schoenfeld joins me as always, and as they say, as the more things change, the more they remain the same. You look at Philadelphia winning, Buffalo losing. Some interesting numbers when you look at those two clubs.
Well, the only difference between the two teams has been their play in the third period, plus their point total. Philadelphia with 12 and the Sabres with 2. Third period, the Sabres have been leading or tied. They go in, they lose 5 of 6. The Flyers have been trailing or tied. They go in, they win 5 of 6. So one team is soaring, and the other team is searching for a winning way, as are the Rangers and the Islanders. So it's still pretty tight in that division. No one is running away with it. The playoff spots are still up for grabs.
All right, Jim, thanks. We've got much more coming up as we wrap up the night around the National Hockey League. This is ESPN's National Hockey Night. And welcome back, everyone. As seen here on National Hockey Night, the Los Angeles Kings surprised by the Washington Capitals 6-3. Al Morganti is back in Landover with the star of the game for Washington, Randy Burridge. Al?
Thanks, Steve. And Randy, I guess I should say welcome back after a year. You come back, I guess officially back now with a hat trick. Had a terrific game. How did it feel?
I felt great out there. All camp, my knees have been feeling really well, and I worked a lot, really hard this summer, and things are going great. It was nice to see the goals go in, too.
The team had a rough start. Didn't look like a team that's struggling at all tonight.
That's the way we've played the last 3 games. The first 5, we certainly rode off. We had no jump, no legs, and when you look at us on paper, we got a lot of talent. It's only going to happen sooner or later that we're going to jump out of it, and the last 3 games we have.
All right, let's take a look at the first of what was many goals, 3 goals. Your first one tonight. You're playing now after missing that season with the knee injury. You could just describe it.
Well, this is the second goal here. I yelled back to Pat Peake to drop it, and I knew the guy was going to the net, so I just wanted to get it on net. And when somebody's converging on net, it's a little tough on the goalie to see it, and it went through his legs.
Okay, look at another goal here. I believe this one's your second one. You may have the order right here.
No, actually, this one's the third one. Yeah, I was just in front of the net, and I knew the goalie was down, and I got the rebound, and I knew I just get it on net, and I was sure it was going to go in.
You're on a bit of a streak now, I guess, for you, too. You lose the first 6. How about the morale of the team when you were down as opposed to right now?
It's a tough situation. I mean, I think every team goes through that at least once a year. Unfortunately, it was really bad for us. It seemed like all 20 guys weren't going well. Usually, 5 or 6 guys aren't going well, and you lose games, but we were just so bad. We're losing games 6-1, 7-1, and we knew we were eventually going to turn around. It was just when are we going to do it, and it's nice to see that we've got our legs going, and things are going well now.
A lot of athletes in any sport, when they have a major injury, you've had both knees, they say it takes an entire year when you're back to get to where you were. How do you feel? Do you think you're a year away, or do you feel top of your game?
Well, I've been out a whole year, and I feel I'm at the top of my game. It's nice. When I came back at the end of last year, I certainly wasn't at the top of my game. I was a little out of shape and certainly didn't have the strength I have now. And with the summer and training camp, I feel that I am at the top of my game.
It's not just any team you beat. Gretzky's had a terrific start coming in here. What's it like facing him when he's again apparently a premier player in the league here, coming in a game like this?
He's the greatest, I think. I've always appreciated the way he plays the game, and I always figured he was the best. And it's great to see him back at the top of the league. I think that's great for him and obviously for the league, and it was certainly exciting playing against him tonight.
All right, congratulations on the hat trick. Good luck the rest of the season. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Al, thanks very much. And there you see the final. Washington Capitals surprising Los Angeles Kings by a score of 6-3 in Landover. Still much more to come on ESPN's coverage of the National Hockey League and National Hockey Night, including a couple of big-name injuries. One is the captain of the Detroit Red Wings. Details and highlights coming up in just a bit. Welcome back on ESPN's National Hockey Night. Score of our game, Washington over Los Angeles. Capitals win by a score of 6-3. Just heard from Randy Burridge, the hero for Washington with the hat trick. There is plenty of NHL news tonight in addition to the 5 games that were played. And we start with the Detroit Red Wings standout captain Steve Yzerman, who will be out now 4 to 6 weeks after suffering a herniated disc. Again, out 4 to 6 weeks. Play took play last night. Joe Louis Arena, Red Wings won 6-2. Yzerman collides with Thomas Steen. And Yzerman sent down for the count. He would walk off, skate off under his own power, but never stopped at the bench, and in fact headed straight for the dressing room, obviously dazed and in pain. Again, Steve Yzerman out 4 to 6 weeks with that injury. Other injuries of note: Edmonton Oilers defenseman Dave Manson was injured in practice today. He will be out 3 to 5 weeks with a separated shoulder. Transactions: Washington, the Capitals, who won tonight on ESPN, they sent Pat Ellinuck to Tampa Bay for future considerations. The Caps also released veteran Keith Acton, who was claimed on waivers by the New York Islanders. When we come back, we'll talk with Jim Schoenfeld, get some thoughts from him on life in the NHL. I'm Steve Levy. ESPN's National Hockey Night continues. Washington over Los Angeles 6-3 in our game tonight. And welcome back, everyone. There you see the only game that is still going on around the NHL. Leach has scored to make it a 2-0 lead for the Boston Bruins over the Edmonton Oilers. They play 7 minutes left in that second period. A couple of clubs that are struggling. Boston Bruins are winless in their last 4, had 3 1-1 ties. Interesting history possibly made tomorrow night. The Toronto Maple Leafs will visit Tampa to take on the Lightning, and the Leafs have a chance to actually knock Jim Schoenfeld out of the hockey history book. Leafs have already won 8 in a row, have a chance to set the all-time NHL record with 9 straight wins to begin a season. Buffalo had 8, 1975-76 club, as you can see, and Toronto had done it earlier in 34-35. As a matter of fact, Jim Schoenfeld was the captain of that club. Now, I think when fans hear about that and they think about a streak starting the season, you might have thought it was more than 8 wins. How difficult is it to win 8 straight to start a season?
You know, when I look back at that time in my career, I really can't recall a thing, Steve, but I do know, it's a long time ago, I do know that the Maple Leafs are well aware that they have a chance to set a league record. I mean, it's really been publicized, so they're a team that's going to go out. They're playing against a rival, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay plays them very tough. They do have one thing going for them, that is Felix Potvin, and the other thing is to play at Doug Gilmour. So if I was a betting man, I would bet on the Maple Leafs setting a new league record winning 9 straight games, and I wouldn't have to answer questions about the Sabres anymore.
Yeah, but you might not be in the record book anymore.
That's
They might
okay.
take you out.
It's just the Sabres. It wasn't me anyway.
Any
I was just
significant?
one
You remember
1/20th of
anything
that team.
significant from the streak? Do you have a big goal in there by any chance?
I had a big goal in practice. I remember that during the streak, but none in the games.
Plenty more ESPN hockey coming up for you on Monday on ESPN2. Dallas at Detroit. You know about Steve Yzerman, so the Red Wings will rely heavily on Sergei Fedorov to pick up the slack for Detroit offensively. Then Tuesday night, the next time we will be with you, ESPN's National Hockey Night. Philadelphia and Quebec. Always fun when Eric Lindros travels to Lake Coliseum. Final score from our game is Washington over Los Angeles 6-3. Stay tuned for Hockey the Lighter Side. Are you in that?
I could be in that, yeah.
For Jim Schoenfeld, I'm Steve Levy. Take care. Have a good night, everyone.